Welcome, one and all, to the L&C podcast. How's it going?
Welcome.
How you been?
It is well. I'm good. A lot of lifing, you know what I'm saying? Lifing. Yourself?
Yeah. No major developments, or just like life, like breathing, water intake. How's your hydration? How's water intake?
I sit outside in a spot.
Electrolytes? Are you
photosynthesize?
Yeah.
I get salt and nutrients from the
As
dirt.
a vegan, do you have to photosynthesize to live?
It's mandatory.
Okay.
Mandatory.
I thought
Sometimes I crawl on solar panels.
Yeah, because what if you run out of chlorophyll?
Exactly.
You just you shrivel up like SpongeBob in Sandy's house, right?
Yeah, I'll shrink. Like Shaq, he photosynthesizes a lot.
Really?
But you know who doesn't?
That's why he's so big.
Exactly.
Because he's a tree.
Yes, exactly.
He's a redwood. That's incredible. So I'm glad to learn that at the top, which I hope you've, as a viewer, listener, you've learned to like and subscribe. Please do that right now. I won't ask again. Don't make me. I'll spank you if you don't do it. I'll give you a spanking. Other than
people
that,
are purposely not going to do it then.
Yeah, they want it. Yeah, you naughty listeners, you. This has never been this kinky before. I want to apologize to you guys and to our guests, who I'm sure you can hear sweating in the background at the kink level. It's at an all-time high, but I'm really elated to have these guys in here. Like, this is honestly, it's been a dream of mine since I met them, because they're absolutely hilarious, and I mean it this time. They are just the out of this world forces of nature, the two of them, and they're peas in a pod. They don't go anywhere without each other. And they can't be related. So I'm pleased to announce here in person, in studio bedroom, Spencer Franco and Angel Penn. Oh my goodness.
Hey,
thank you guys for being here.
This is
Thank
awesome.
you so much.
I'd just like to start off by saying I'm not subscribed, so
yeah. All right.
Am I?
Don't worry. I'll pull up you in the baby costume in a little bit. We're going to review that. Yeah. We're going to watch that.
Good. Some of my best work.
And I'm actually not going to spank you on principle because, yeah.
I like how you speak very softly, yet extremely threatening. You're like, you should subscribe or your family's dead. Like, it's very soothing.
Well, it comes through, when you listen to it, I'm right here. I'm right up on the mic, so.
It's like subliminal messaging. You know, listen to it for 8 hours, but like every 15 minutes, it's like,
yeah, like
makes him a little bit of a mobster, like very Italian mob-esque. I don't know if you notice Italians, when they're yelling at you, you have nothing to worry about. But as soon as your dad looks at you and goes, "Are you sure about that?" Really?
Yeah.
You sure about that's where you want to take it there?
Yeah, you got to sprinkle in a subliminal threat. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys are. I said forces of nature. You're all over the place. You're full-time comedians, is what you told me earlier, meaning that you don't make any money. Is that?
Oh, we're just poor. We just decided
perpetually in serfdom, right?
Yeah.
How is that going?
I mean, I've been doing stand-up in January. It'll be 6 years. After my
move that mic a little closer. I just want to make sure that it's picking you up. Yeah.
After my first year,
get right up on that table.
Why not? Let's get nice and close. Become friends.
Yeah, perfect.
After my first year, I went full time, which is insane. That is not a good idea.
Oh my god!
But when I had a 9 to 5, I was so miserable that I couldn't take it. And I was like, you know what? I'm happier poor, and I love what I do. And then I met this gentleman about a year ago when he came to DC. When anybody who takes, I mean, you don't have to be full time to take comedy serious, but it's such a bad idea. You're pretty serious if you're full time.
Yeah,
it's like it's easy to be full time when you're already famous.
Right, one is definitely suggestive of the other.
Yeah. Like, so when I met this insane guy, I was like, oh, okay, I think we're gonna be okay.
This sounds like your love story, like your meet cute. I met this insane guy, and he spanked me.
We've been together ever since.
Yeah, ever since.
One thing led to another, you know?
I know. So you put the baby costume on him then, in that case, every morning?
No, he didn't. He just showed up at my house and it was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Good. I was trying to take his stuff, and then I was like, oh, there's somebody here. You know what? I'm a stand-up comic. He's like, me too. I was like, yeah, that's why I'm here.
A true meet cute in every sense. So you only met a year ago because you moved here, and you moved where, from Utah?
So I lived in Utah for 4 years, and then I moved to Hawaii when I just decided, I was like, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life, so I might as well move to Hawaii.
Sure.
Because if you're going to be homeless anywhere, why not Hawaii?
Why not?
Homeless in Hawaii.
Aloha.
Coming soon to NBC.
That's true. And then while I was out in Hawaii, I actually found a place to live. $850 a month on the North Shore, which is like insane. But I basically was going to be living in someone's unfinished basement.
Right.
And then I got a job as a ranch hand. And then I tried out stand-up comedy because I performed my whole life. So I was like, I want to do something where I can just get on stage and perform right now. I don't have to go through the audition process.
Performed as what?
What?
What did you perform as?
Oh, I did like...
Sexually?
Yeah.
Yes, I've been a stripper my entire life, but no, I've been I did theater since I was like 8 years old, and then improv in college, and I have a degree in theater, and then I just didn't perform for 4 years straight, and I didn't realize it, but I was like wildly depressed, and then when I decided, oh crap, I want to do stand up, I want this to be what I'm doing, I was like, then I guess I should move back to Maryland with the DC and Baltimore comedy scene being a place where a lot of greats have come out of. So
some of the greatest greats.
Yeah.
It's insane how much talent that we've come out of here.
I'm gonna do this just so you're not looking directly into their souls. I just realized Angel's like right down the barrel, like interrogating
My bad. I thought that was the right
play
thing
like
to do.
good cop, bad cop. We're just look at me. Look like we're talking to each other.
Beautiful soft voice.
That was I just realized like I looked at you on the screen.
Their souls and staring.
I know. He just want all the attention to yourself.
We're just talking. It's just this is casual. If you see me look over here, it's because I have to keep everything afloat.
Kings, you know how they are.
Yes. You and Dwayne White, the two of you, like obsess over my ass and its girth. I don't know what that's about. Like,
there was this one. He moved to Chicago. This one gay comic that I'd often just directly stare at his ass because I didn't know it was a dude. I'd be like, who is this? And then the rest of the body would come down the steps.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, oh.
So you didn't know he was a dude, like, until you saw the full picture.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
It happened all the time. I was like, man, you got me again.
Right. So he's only like half a trap, like half.
Yeah. He wasn't trying to trick me. I was tricking myself.
Sure.
But now I was like, this taught me patience.
Let's see the full picture before we.
See the full picture
before we assault somebody.
Don't judge a book by its ass.
I'm just picturing you not waiting and just being like, yo, what's good, Sean? Short King. Short King.
It was good, Sean. Dang. It's Sean.
Yo, check out the ass on my best friend.
Right. So I do want to get into your life story, Spencer. I do want to do that at some point. But for now, just you ended up in Hawaii by way of wherever, Utah.
Yeah, I had an aunt that lived out there. And I'm tight with a lot of Polynesian people. So
and then you moved here just because, or
because I wanted to do comedy.
Yeah,
because I was like,
Virginia is not or DC, Maryland is not like comedy destination, is it? Or...
No, well, I mean, I grew up in Maryland, so it was like Baltimore. It was like a place I was familiar with where there was more competition. Because in Hawaii and Utah, there are some great comics out there support local comedy, but there's not as much competition.
It's few and far between.
There's a ton of competition here, and you have to be good, otherwise you never make it out of just doing open mics. So I want to get better as quickly as possible. The only way to do that is to have people to compete with.
Let me know if this resonates with you, if this sounds right or not. I find there's just enough competition here to, you know, to really test you and to make you feel like you're improving and to make you feel like you're working for it without really doing any of that, actually. You know, where you will get booked on a show eventually just by virtue of like knowing people or like meeting you guys at things and just showing up. Right. But if you were in LA or if you were in New York or Chicago or somewhere where there's a concentrated comedy scene, I feel like that's just cutthroat and people kill themselves every day because like they do show up and nothing comes of it. And you really have to like double, triple down on this. Like I feel like you have to do what you're doing here in those places just to get, you know, the time of day, just to be seen, right?
Yeah, well, and actually I found too that by doing comedy here as intensely as we are, we have like Xavier recently was like, hey, we should go up to New York and do some shows up there.
Oh, I would love to, yeah. Charlotte and I were talking about that. We'll carpool, and just make a trip.
You can literally just take public transit. Like there's trains that go up there.
Right.
Well, here's the problem with traveling and doing comedy, because I've done comedy long enough and I want to travel, but I'm full time, and every time I leave, I automatically stop making money.
Really?
Yeah, because I do comedy full time, but I'm also a photographer and videographer. That's like that my side hustle to stand up. I would love to say, oh, I'm so funny that's where I make all my money. It's like, nah, if I only did it, I would be dead. So I do the side stuff, and as soon as I leave, I almost have to like have a guaranteed booking, because I would love to like, oh, let me spend a weekend in New York, hop on shows, and be casual about it. I was like, I can't really do that, because as soon as I stop, money just stops flowing.
If it's not guaranteed, like, but would you at any point build it into your schedule if you could book enough events in those places to basically sustain like a tour, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing out in Utah.
Yeah, going to Utah.
Yeah, going out to Utah.
And there are enough places that you can make reasonable enough
we have
income.
A big show where so far we've sold 100 tickets.
Oh my gosh.
So if anybody from Utah is watching,
is that your building blocks flyer? So
the one you have is for the DC show, but we're also doing, it's the same flyer, just different dates and information and everything.
Right.
But the one out in Utah, when I started doing stand-up, I was like, I want to do a show for my grandpa before he kind of is like out the door. And so that was a goal of mine. And I told Angel that when we first met, and he was like, I don't know if you can, okay. And then he heard that I was serious about it, and he was like, oh, I should be friends with this guy, so he'll put me on a show.
Hey, that's the only reason why I'm going. I don't know his grandpa at all.
As soon as this Utah show's done, we're not going to be hanging out anymore.
Not anymore.
Spencer who? Lorenzo's my best friend because he knows a venue.
Sure.
So that's all I care
On to the next transactional relationship.
I just found out he was vegan. I'm vegan too. I just made that decision just now. Yeah. Gang. Well, actually, that might be real for you.
If you convert one more person, we're done. I'm ending the show. It's unacceptable.
I converted someone to vegan.
That's my whole point.
No, but if you start, I'll start having to like pull a Jordan Peterson like carnivore diet, proselytizing, just to counterbalance it.
I've always said Jordan Peterson looks like if Rick from Walking Dead talked like Kermit the Frog.
Yes.
Like that's basically.
Yeah. Except Rick looks well. That's the only difference, I feel like. I almost saw him. I almost saw Jordan Peterson live in DC because I was just walking around. I forget what I was fucking there for. I think I was there for Nightcap or something. Or it was like a show later that day. And I got to DC early enough to just, stroll around. So I like going down to the mall if it's a nice day, see the monuments and all that because I'm a basic, white bitch. And I did all that. I do the sightseeing I've done a million times. And I heard, just like from miles and miles away, I could hear these loudspeakers. Like there was a concert about to begin. Like there's someone speaking on a soundstage somewhere. So I just followed the noise. On my way, I saw Joe Biden, actually. I saw him and Kamala in a motorcade. That was awesome. And there was a dude singing about how they're both like lizard people, in the background with his own sound system. Truth. So I thought like, okay, was this what I was hearing? But I was like, no, these speakers are way quieter, and I could hear it still in the distance. And I made my way out further still onto the mall. I was kind of like, like sandwiched in like side streets and buildings and shit. And when I could finally see it right over the hill, big old soundstage, like huge speakers and shit. And the closer I got, the like you start seeing the red hats and like the flags and everything. Right, the closer you get, and sure enough, it was this. It wasn't quite MAGA. It's called something else. What was it called? Do you remember, Lorenzo? We watched a clip from it.
It was the fucking. Yeah. They were selling themselves as like environmentalists. Yeah. But they were like
make America something, but it's
make America healthy or something.
Yes, shit. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Make America Healthy Again campaign, and it's sponsored by what's his name? Eric Weinstein. You remember the Terrence Howard podcast with Joe Rogan, the two of them, how Terrence had like a mental breakdown on Joe Rogan's recently. So the follow-up episode, he had this guy on, Eric
Weinstein, the smart white dude who has 80s hair. Yeah.
He was the one who produced this large event in DC recently, this Make America Healthy Again, and it had this insane roster. Like Rob Schneider opened it up.
Whoa.
Fucking like Jordan Peterson and Russell Brand came out on the stage together. I missed all of that though, because that was like they front loaded it with like the fun stuff. RFK Jr. came out and did his thing. I mean, did his thing.
So, but you missed Jordan Peterson.
I missed them all. I missed everybody.
So what you're saying is you were this close to becoming straight.
Yeah, I was. I just like Jesus. You just need to like.
Yeah, you just
get within proximity.
If I touch him, I'll be clean.
Not even touch. Just like lay eyes upon him. I too will become Kermit.
So you're a big Jordan Peterson fan?
I'm not, but it was just one of those things where you hear people say this, like no matter how you feel about somebody, when you get up to meet them or you get close to them, you're captured, right? You're starstruck. You're just like stun. It's like a stun grenade goes off. You're just like, I was drawn in. I just watched the whole thing, and I was just people watching. Like these fucking animals. Like I don't know how many black people I saw with MAGA gear more in my life, especially since it's happening in DC.
Yeah.
But I was just really and there weren't a ton of people there either. Like I think if you look it up, they shot it. There were tons of like high definition cameras there, and like they had film crews and people there. There were Comedy Mothership people running the sound equipment. Everything. They all had like the Joe Rogan gear on, but they'll make it look like it was a lot bigger. But the stage was huge. The setup was huge, and there was like this big mosh pit, and then everything else was just kind of like scattered people like me, just like hangers on. In the in the corners or whatever, just kind of like
sitting there to watch the world burn.
And there were a few people. I actually saw Sam Gordon there. I saw he was recording all of it to make a video or whatever. So we dapped up or whatever. But
he's like a real life Lego man.
He is, and he would appreciate you saying that.
Lego boy.
Lego boy. Wow.
Like if they make
it got worse.
Legos,
it got worse. Yeah. I don't even know where I was going.
Like with pieces so it doesn't choke. Like pieces so it don't choke on. That's what But I don't even know this dude we're talking about because I don't know names.
He was there on
he
Saturday.
Met him. He just forgets.
You didn't meet
I'm sure I know.
You like have social CTE. He literally was like, "Hey, what's up?" And you shook his hand and everything.
When I see someone's face, I can tell you everything I know about that person, every interaction I've ever had, but I cannot, for the life of me, remember their name.
Yeah, he still calls me OJ.
Yeah,
you made the same joke.
Yeah.
When you pulled up in the Bronco, I didn't want to make any. So,
thanks, Charlie.
I stuck around because it was just like like you said, watching the world burn, whatever you want to call it. I was awestruck, and I was bummed. Even though like I don't like these people particularly, I don't have any real affinity with them. It is cool to see like these people.
Are you like neutral on them?
More leaning hate or more like dislike. Yeah, I hate Jordan Peterson with the pet.
Why?
Like PragerU, all that bullshit.
PragerU, that's a different guy.
Well, that's Dennis Prager, but they're all in this. All the what's it called the Ben Shapiro network of people.
Oh,
that's Jordan Peterson. That's what's that called? Yeah,
it's interesting whenever people hate them because I'm always like. They're just being like, "Hey, man, you should be disciplined and make good choices."
That's not what he does.
Daily Wire.
Daily Wire. Yeah. That's so. Jordan Peterson's part of the Daily Wire with Candace Owens. So you like Candace Owens? Is what?
No.
Jordan Peterson is Candace Owens. but for gay people. Because
Wait, Jordan Peterson's not even gay.
he is. He just doesn't know it. The way he shits on gay people and the whole trans argument. I don't want to get political or anything, but when you ask me like, why do you like have disdain for someone like that? It's because he started as, you know, like the self-help guru, right? Like this psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever his profession is. And then when the money started rolling in, him and his daughter, they turned, you know, to the dark side. That's why he's literally Two-Face now. Like he wears these like pinstripe suits that are divided in half and shit.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. I saw. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a cool ass.
He's fully like, I would have loved to see it in
because
person.
it's something a gay guy would wear.
It
It's like
is.
100%.
It is.
I literally looked at it and was like,
It's avant-garde for sure.
It's
Like
real.
yeah.
Yeah, it's real flashy. Like either a gay guy or a black guy going to
look
church would wear that suit.
Let's see.
Well, that's one of those situations where like people who hate Rogan, and then I go, well, what do you hate about him? And then they just start saying what everyone else says, and then I go, you've never watched Rogan,
Yeah.
because if you have, you know it's not true. Like I used to watch Jordan Peterson, but not like his podcast or whatever. But I'd see him on other stuff randomly. Seems like a nice guy who's just trying to help people out. The hate part, now maybe you've seen stuff that I haven't, but it's like,
Yeah, no, I definitely have.
but whenever people will lump him and like Rogan together, I automatically dismiss him because
See,
everyone who
that's
talks
a
about
cool
Rogan,
suit.
Yeah.
Sorry, it just is. I like
Trust
the
me,
suit,
no.
man.
that is a dope suit.
No, it's pretty cool. But I just say this to illustrate it's around this time that he starts like
You're
getting,
right. I never looked at it as gay, and I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of see it.
Well, just for the record,
It is a sassy suit. It's very
Jordan, if you somehow hear this,
Yeah.
if you can get me on stage, I'll defend your suit. I can't defend everything you've said because I don't really know everything.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but that's how they get people, right?
Yeah.
Like how he converted you to vegan a minute ago. Like,
Not me.
if he gives you,
I'm Mormon. I'm not allowed to be. You can only follow one cult at a time. You can only.
yeah,
Isn't it funny that vegan is a dietary thing, but we think of it as a cult?
yeah,
Yeah,
Like, I
because
think of it
they
as-
won't
It is.
shut up about
It's
it.
not.
Thank you,
That's why.
thank you so much.
Like, you
I'm
know,
in the cult of comedy. I
What
won't
about
shut up about
what about keto? Do we think of keto as a cult?
it. Nah, because no one's happy.
I did for a time.
know.
But like Jordan Peterson, I lump it in with all those
Yeah.
like self-help.
Yeah,
people.
your identity politics all the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the all meat diet. Like my brother did it, and it helped him. He's a big Jordan Peterson. He listens. I know him through my brother,
Really.
but he's never been like offensive in any way. Like same thing with Rogan. Like I was like, his show I actually watched, but mainly for when he was talking to comics. But every once in a while I'd be bored and I'd watch the non-comic ones, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But we're just in the era of people, like Neil Brennan said, who's standing around going like, hey, let's ask the comedians what they think.
Right.
Like, let's talk to the clowns.
Right now.
And I love that he said that on his special, because I was like, thank you for
Yeah.
synthesizing the thing I've been feeling. I was like, why do you care what comics have to say?
Well, and it's like that's why I don't watch anything political. I don't watch like clips or YouTube shorts or anything like that. I watch the full unedited interview or whatever it is, because I know as a comedian, someone took something that I said. It would be so easy with how much film I have of myself to take it and make me look like the absolute worst person ever.
Sure.
I mean, can you imagine if they just clipped that part where I said, or something a black guy would wear to church? Like, if they just took that
Yeah.
and none of the, like...
Franco thinks black people dress alike.
This would be a good segue, actually. You know, Jordan Peterson, whatever you think of him is whatever you think. And what I was getting at is just it's little sprinklings, it's a little candy trail of like nice, neutral things that lead to like, trans people are, like the spawn of Satan, and
for someone that hates him, you do a great impression.
I don't even think I
It's
did.
like him, but if
Nah,
he had a cold.
it's like a raspy Kermit the Frog.
It's
Yeah, I could have.
Jordan Peterson here.
Yes, very much so.
Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
I can only do a Kermit the Frog impression when I'm singing. Why
very
are
specific.
there so many
Right. Gay people have no place
transgender
in our
people?
schools. So anyways, and that's with all of them too. And each one of them serves their own purpose. Like Candace, same thing. It's like, okay, what's this black lady doing here on the Daily Wire? You know, it must be safe. And then you get there, and
I actually saw her on Rogan, and I actually liked her on Rogan. Not her,
because she's
as a
funny.
person.
She's a funny bitch.
Well, no, I like that after 3 hours, what she was saying started unraveling. Because it's very easy when you talk for 10 minutes to do it.
Sure.
But on Rogan, that's kind of the fun thing about Rogan is that to watch him slowly, his goal isn't to dismantle her. But as soon as she says something that doesn't make sense, he'll call her out on it.
Sure.
And it's very easy to defend a few of those. But 3 hours of that, eventually, you said this earlier, and that didn't make sense. So, and then it just started to unravel, was like, oh, you're just kind of full of shit.
The problem is he'll look past that, and not that it's too much of a problem. And then I don't want to forget, I wanted to talk about Tony Hinchcliffe at the Madison Square Garden.
I thought that's what we were
so
going.
just table that. I want to, I do want to get your opinion on that for the out of context remark. But with fucking Rogan, if he's friends with somebody, he'll overlook all your misgivings, you know, even if it's exposed on his program, right? Like, even if, like, after watching in full context, unedited, you know, every single second of it, afterwards, it'll be like, you know, she misspoke, you know, benefit of the doubt, I mean, you know, done and done. But
yeah, but isn't that called being friends?
It's called, it is.
Angel's the worst.
Oh, terrible.
I can't stand him, but every once in a while I'm like, you know, that joke, I guess, Angel's trying his best. And Angel doesn't say, he'll look at me and
is he
like,
racist to you?
To me, yes, constantly.
All the time.
Oh my God.
It's fun. Because it's okay to do it against white people.
There's no HR when you're full-time comedians, is there?
No, that's the whole reason why
it's
we
just
have
God,
to be.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's the real reason why both of us are full-time. It's just because we got fired from everywhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, and you molest each other now.
Hey,
I've never been fired.
Hey. I don't let him touch me.
Let,
I
yeah.
molest him.
Keyword let.
Hey, look, beggars can't be choosers. That's
Sure.
all I know. Yeah.
I should have put a trigger warning at the top. I like how I'm being.
Really? After Charlotte?
Charlotte was great. Charlotte.
Oh, no. I loved her.
All she
It
did was
fun.
say faggot a couple times. That was it.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, a couple.
You know why? It only shocked me because on the
Because
big
you're gay.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Because on the big podcast, they bleep it out because they don't want to get demonetized. So
What did I tell you? I think I said it off camera. Nobody listens to this. I don't have to worry about getting taken down. I don't have to get worried about like ad block or
Yeah,
like
but here's the thing.
AdSense being taken.
Shane Gillis,
Mm-hmm.
somebody will go back and be like, "Oh, can you believe
Retroactively,
he let a white woman say this word, even though in the episode it was like, I'm gay."
Yeah.
And it was like, and it's part of a joke and blah, blah, blah. Like, people can, that's why whenever people talking points at me about somebody, I immediately go like, I'm not going to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally tell them like, oh, you're just saying the talking points. This is not an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to have like a nuance, like, oh, this, and that, that's fun. But then when you're like, well, did you know that this person said this? And then I would go like, can you show it to me? And they're like, well, it's hard to find. And I'm like, nah, no, it's not. If somebody says something crazy like that, you could find it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard in the internet age. It's hard to really take people to task in a and I guess a conventionally fair way, you know, or how we used to think of what is fair.
But I got to be honest. I think it's, I mean, on the one hand, it's like we as comics, we're like, hey, be careful. Don't take my stuff out of context. But honestly, I think it's kind of helping us. Like, I think the fact that there's a space where just the mentally ill can be like, I'm going to hear crazy stuff for a little bit. Like, especially now, like, I mean, and I say that as like a clean comic who doesn't really make super edgy jokes, but.
And I'm the exact opposite. I love talking about controversial things.
Yeah.
I wish my brain.
You dressed up as an Islamic person the other night.
And I'm going to do it again for Halloween. Yeah. But
That
also,
will get you
not just an
canceled
Islamic
alone.
person in general.
Let's specify. Yeah, let's specify.
I look.
I want to take that out of context.
Yeah.
You did Muslim face or whatever the equivalent.
So there's this guy
And then
named
thinks he
Mohammed bin
said-
Salman, and I happen to look exactly like him.
Let's pull him up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we'll talk Tony Hinchcliffe. And
Yeah. Literally, one of my jokes is my mom sent me a picture of me meeting Obama, and I was like, I don't remember doing that. Yeah, that's me. And just without, I just have white hair.
Yeah,
now
you need
'cause
to
I'm old.
dye your beard, and that's
Well, he
there.
dyes his beard.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do the Steven Seagal, the whole
Kind of
Rudy
squint a little
Giuliani
bit.
thing. Yeah.
Look like you're.
Oh, there's one where
Look
he's
like you're trying to
laughing.
slowly let a
He's
fart
such a
out.
cutie pie, though.
Yeah, look,
you
that's
know,
me.
Yeah. Look
I
at him.
can kind of see it, actually. I could see.
Look at this dude.
Yeah.
He's coy.
I bet you when he was like, "Hey, put that reporter in a suitcase," they were like, "Aw, okay."
Right, it's the same.
Spencer, as an autistic person, like this is somebody you're playing Legos with in the corner. Like this,
Yeah, exactly.
that's that face. That's
Yeah.
do you want to play with my truck?
That's
face.
That's
right?
exactly.
I think it's okay to dress up like somebody you look exactly like.
Right.
No, that's the face of you're touching my Legos, and I know I'm supposed to be okay with it, but
yeah, the
I
forcing
might-
the smile.
yeah, he's masking right now. You don't know this, but he's about to have a full temper.
He's about to crash
He's
out,
about to
yeah.
have a full temper tantrum.
There's
He's
one
probably
where he's
dumb.
laughing and he kind of like scrunches his face back, and I'm like, that's exactly what I look like. There's pictures of me making that face.
Wow.
Of him like laughing at something.
Now, do you kick yourself that you were born in the wrong body?
Yeah.
Because you'd be a
could have a pet
multi-billionaire
tiger.
if you.
It would be
yeah.
nice to be. So my opening joke when I dress up like him is I go, I'm Mohammed bin Salman and I'm an evil Arab prince. And I know that for a fact because if you Google evil Arab prince, my face comes up. Like it's the same. Like that's out of all the princes and all the Arabs, that's the guy
That's
who's
the one.
considered that Google goes, oh, you mean this dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I look exactly like him.
He's in the now.
Yeah.
When he dies in the next
and he has a
one-
cool nickname, MBS.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's like a news network.
Now, as a white guy, I need to tell you my opinion about the Arabs.
Oh, please.
No, I'm just
Okay. I was
I
going to let
agree
you.
with
Yeah.
everything he said.
No, I was going to let you shoot from the hip and then take it out of context later.
Edit it later.
Make the clip. Yeah. I was really excited for a second. I was like,
Zoom
oh.
into his face slowly and put ominous music,
Yeah.
you know.
It's like,
This is how I
finally
feel about the
taking it.
Arabs. Boom.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Like the Fox, like whiz bang sound.
And then you can just cut to you being like, "He said this," and everyone will believe you
Right.
because
What's it called? I'm sorry I platformed him.
yeah.
So dumb.
What's platforming?
It means when you talk to somebody.
Yeah.
If you talk to somebody, you're platformed.
You being here, you being on my floor with my microphone, you're on my platform. I've given you a microphone to speak with. When
So
that
for
was-
some reason, no matter what we
Yeah.
say, it falls on him. Which
yeah,
doesn't
I
make any
fucked up
sense.
by letting you
okay.
get racist
Yep.
in my house.
Yep. Anyway,
Which-
this is why we should
Hey.
separate the races.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Lorenzo, can we get your opinion? I'm going to
put
go
special-
quickly from one type of white guy to another type of white
I
person.
put special markers on your water bottles just so you make sure that they stay on opposite sides of the table. Yeah. I had the black chair right there that I messed up and made them. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts, Lorenzo? And you've been so quiet. I feel bad.
Laughing.
But I know he laughs the entire. I love having his face on the screen because he's laughing. He's taking it in like the audience is. He is the audience surrogate when I have people here, which I feel bad about. And it's the same way when he has people at his place. Is that you feel like you have to sit back and just watch them do their thing in the room.
Yeah.
But please interject. Like full volume. Get in here. Have a blast. Get canceled with us. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do not just
That's
be
why
like
I'm
a
clearing the way.
conscientious observer.
I already see where it's going. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I've been timing this mentally, and I already know what clips I'm gonna use against you.
Yeah. Oh, you're making timestamps? Oh,
all three of y'all are canceled.
he makes
once
most of the
this
clips
comes
for
out.
this that we put on Instagram, so he's telling the truth. He's going to
Hey.
actually sabotage me.
That's okay. Just my mom watches this, and she's a praying woman, so be careful
Yeah.
because my mom's prayers get answered.
So Lorenzo, I want you to take my mom watches this and then put it like splice it up against him in a baby costume. I want it back to back. And then I'm going to spank him, and then we're going to put all three just like 1, 2, 3.
All I'm saying, Lorenzo, is sometimes MAGA makes good points. You know, like
That's the clip right there.
There it is. Hey man, let's get some applause in here and let's get. There we go. Excellent. I just used the default Discord sounds.
That'll be the clip to make my mom upset, and then the clip to make my dad upset. I'll be like, liberals make a lot of sense.
Wow. Never the two shall meet.
Never.
Oh
Most
my
people got
gosh.
married. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm it's why I hate myself. I inherited both of their genes in me.
Isn't that how it works though?
Yeah.
Opposites attract.
hmm
Yeah.
Those, huh? Yeah.
That's my problem. I don't
Ironically.
hate myself. I think I'm great.
Mm-hmm.
Not
I
everyone
feel like
agrees,
I'm
but it's fine. I have enough love for myself.
Yeah. That's why you have like a twin brother.
Yeah, exactly. We're multiplying.
Wow.
So good.
Wow.
So this Tony Hinchcliffe getting canceled thing.
Let's do it. Did you see any of that?
Yeah, we watched the whole thing on the way over here because we were having a conversation.
Really? Oh, perfect. I did too. I
Yeah.
just today I just watched it. Man, oh man. I don't think it's a big deal.
That's what I think happened is he went and did comedy at a place where nobody was expecting comedy.
Right. And the worst kind in the worst place imaginable.
And plus it was in New York where even the most like conservative voting for Trump people in New York are still a little bit like be careful what you're saying kind of people.
I don't even think that. No. I think in the moment in the room he did well for himself,
Yeah.
I think he did as well as any stand-up comedian that wasn't like Larry the fucking cable guy or somebody would have done in that sort of MAGA stadium environment. But I mean, truly, he just made the worst imaginable jokes this close to an election where like there's so much at stake.
But
right?
that to me
that
is
makes
what
sense.
made it so cool.
Like he did it.
Like,
he did it in defiance of everyone's expectations.
Yes.
But then also I say it's not that big of a deal because he didn't tell a lot of jokes and a lot of it was pandering and a lot of it was kind of just like for him it felt tame. And it
was tame.
I was like,
if you know Tony Hinchcliffe, he was holding back.
I was like, if you're gonna go there, go there. Like clearly you're going scorched earth, right? Or else you wouldn't, just be flat out racist. Like saying the quiet part out loud. Or like you would just do it. Why not go all in, right? Like if you're putting it all on the line, put all your eggs in one basket and like go big, and then get the acclaim from people like us who go like, hey, you want balls out at least.
But you have this thing called intelligence,
right?
And I've seen a lot.
But
of
he
comics.
doesn't. That's the problem. Is he does not.
Tell me.
I'll say.
I thought those jokes were really smartly written.
I'll say about those jokes, like there were like 2 or 3 that were like super duper like big brained, right? And which that's tough for a lot of people to even have 2 or 3 hills to die on as jokes go. But the majority of it again was just a slog. I felt I was like,
we were cracking up in the car.
Really, wow.
Well, because here's the thing, right?
Well, Angel was cracking up in the car about the racist stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You were laughing too, all right?
My dad lives in Puerto Rico. That's the only reason why I did that.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait, are you shitting on Puerto Rico?
No, I just.
It's okay. No,
I'm so sorry.
Well, yes.
Why are you sorry?
Yeah.
He's out there
Yes
dating
and
Puerto
no.
Rican supermodels.
Yeah, poor guy. Poor guy.
Not everyone looks up to their dad.
Go ahead, Lorenzo. What did you have?
I was gonna say he's got a good life. It seems like, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can just say the whole thing. You don't have to stop. Like, don't be shy. Yeah. Just get in there.
That's all I had.
No, but like if that's what you're gonna say, just get in there. Is what I'm saying. Like Tony, what Tony should have done, he should have just gone all in. And you think that's what he did? Like seriously?
So here's the thing: his backlash. So I never saw it. I saw the backlash first.
Sure, me too.
And immediately I knew, he was probably really funny, and people are choosing to take it out of context,
which I think might have made it funnier to us. People.
I will say I came at it with the same point of view in that same order, and then where we diverged, I watched it in its entirety and went, "This kind of sucks." like it was kind of just like okay, yeah.
I think
there's part of me that likes watching people struggle. I love that.
I don't think he was struggling. He was getting laughs.
Well, like he was getting laughs, but I could see him squirming of just like,
oh yeah.
Like,
when the audience
here
squirmed,
we go. Okay,
like,
we're cooking now.
Well,
those remarks.
I think, and maybe this is the go in or don't go in at all sort of thing. is I think that was his corporate event. You know,
Yes.
like I think he was told, don't do anything too far, which is ridiculous for anyone to have told him that if they did, because
Right.
at a Trump rally.
I think him
like,
cursing, like the tension of the moment is what I liked, is that he made a cum joke at a presidential rally
Yeah.
in Madison Square Garden.
Hmm.
Like, there's things that I'm willing to say on stage, but there's like open mic angel and paid showcase angel.
Exactly.
And there's certain things where I'm like, I don't want people to have a bad time. But the idea that he's going in front of this crowd and openly making fun of them at some points,
Yeah.
it was like, this is awesome. It kind of reminds me of what is it? When everything's funnier when the teacher says no one talk or make a noise.
Mhm.
Suddenly any noise is
And
hilarious.
then somebody
And
shits
to
their
have
pants. Yeah.
a stand-up and a roast comic in front of thousands of people just making cum jokes and cursing.
Yeah.
Tony
It's
Hinchcliffe.
insane.
I honestly was super surprised he only made like 1 or 2 Kamala Democrat roast jokes. Like he definitely said some stuff about Democrats and everything, but I feel like he didn't make any roast jokes about.
He went
Which was-
light, but at the same time, I would expect him not to be like,
Sure.
you know, like, oh,
Like-
look at this, like, you know what I'm
In
saying?
so many in so many words, like this
He did
is
with the one guy's hat.
well, but this feels like he did the black guy thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, but this felt like the Oscars equivalent for someone like this.
Yes,
Yes.
that's
You
a
know?
perfect analogy.
You know?
It's the Oscars.
But then you look at people like, and I'll say this, I'll give him some credit. This is maybe his first one of those, his first big.
This has
break.
never happened. Comics don't do this.
Exactly. But he has been to this venue before. He knows what it looks like when it's sold out. He knows what to expect. The only difference here is he has a few, guardrails, right? Like maybe he's not allowed to curse a certain amount of times, or like stay away from these topics. Don't call Trump orange or something like that.
Yeah.
And then have at it, have a ball, basically.
Gotta
So-
keep that PG-13 rating.
Right. Keep
Yeah,
it
yeah.
PG-13.
He almost dropped the F-bomb once.
Almost. Yeah.
But he kind of
You can
mumbled.
say it once, only once.
Mhm.
Once in a PG-13 movie.
So, okay, I'll clarify.
Sure.
If any regular person is mad at this, I get it. Because sometimes comics forget regular people don't know what we do.
Right.
They
Right.
have no idea what
Yeah.
it is. And a lot of times, one thing that I tell a lot of new comics, I go, when you go to a show and you're performing, there's audience members who don't believe anything you're saying, that you're just being funny. And then there are audience members who 100% believe everything that you're saying.
Mhm.
You have to make a joke for both of them. And you don't know until you start speaking which one is in the crowd. The
Right.
reason it's hard to go up first is because you are the test dummy for everyone else. But the guy at the end, he was like, all right, I was taking notes. These people are believing everything we're saying, or these people are not. So I could say outlandish things and they know it's a joke. And comics, getting mad at comics, that's the only time when I get mad, because it's like, it's like a magician going like, hey man, that guy isn't really do magic. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, we know that.
That is
And
true.
everyone who was like made a post, there was like, every time I opened up my Instagram, there was a comment going like, man, can you believe what he said about Puerto Rico? Can you believe about, I'm like, he's joking.
Yeah.
It's a joke. He doesn't believe it. And the fact that he had to come on and say like, I love Puerto Rico, I've been there before, I was just making a joke. The fact that he has to say that to comics, that message is for regular people, but comics,
Mhm.
what are you doing?
And so I was on Kill Tony, which I'm not usually very. Now I'm saying it on a podcast. But it's
Yeah.
okay. It's you 20 people. Don't look it up. I freaking bombed. I was 1 month into doing comedy.
Mhm.
I was driving through Texas on my way here, and I was like, let me just sign up because I like Kill Tony. There's no way I'm gonna get on. But God was like, yeah, you will. And I
Let
got
me put
on.
you in your place.
And
So,
I
yeah.
bombed hard for my minute, and then Tony proceeded to call me a retard.
This guy,
Like
ladies and
5%.
gentlemen, I just want to. This is the guy.
That
Yep.
guy.
You
so
retard.
I
You.
well, and in all fairness, I got on stage, immediately roasted the show.
Uh-huh.
But in my mind, it's kill Tony. Like that's. But
then you have to be funny after.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I wasn't funny afterwards.
No, he was not.
You have to, either you kiss the ring and you do bad, or you
exactly
go in guns blazing.
And so he proceeds to call me a retard 5-6 times. So I'm not really like the biggest Tony fan. In fact, when this came out,
You
my
were like
mom
rooting for him.
sent me a clip.
Rooting for him to lose.
And she was like, I knew he was the worst. I knew he sucked. My mom hates him. My mom hates him because of that moment.
That's awesome.
She like doesn't watch comedy
That's
at
good.
all. She watches
He made an enemy that day.
yeah. One that
I
prays. And
only
my mama's
watch-
prayers are answered.
I only watched his minute, and the opening line, I pause it and I just turn to my brother and I go like, "Oh, he fucked up!" Like immediately.
I thought it was so clever. Okay, I called it low budget American Idol,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which
great.
I think is very accurate to what it.
Here's the thing: that
But
would
it's-
be funny on another show to shit on his show.
Yeah.
But in his show, where everyone paid to go see
You're
the
right,
show,
you're right.
they're gonna be like, "We love this. What do you
Oh,
do?"
I know, and I love it too. And just for the record, I said to him like, I'm a fan of the show. During the interview stuff, I was like, I love the show. He was like, what made you think you could come onto my show?
Yep.
And I was like, well, after 1 month of doing comedy, I was like, I've just always liked it, and I figured, why not try to get on? And as soon as he heard me say that I like the show, I think he registered to him that like,
the
oh, this
callback,
dude just doesn't really
Get it.
Know how this
works yet and wants to be a part of this. Because he does later on be like, what? Because I was like, he was like, so you want to do stand-up comedy? I was like, I did until now. And he's like, no, why would you say that with all that you've done here? In his very like Tony sarcastic way. But I just laughed through it. I was a good sport about it. And because I understand that like, yes, he's pooping on me. He's just like, he's roast.
Very
But that's
delicate way of
that's what
saying
we're
that,
That's what he
here to
does.
do.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Straight
here to
down.
do, is to take things that are sensitive, take things that people don't typically like, and we pee on them. Like that's what we're the Calvin and Hobbes tattoo of Calvin peeing on something. You know, that's at Tony's mic. At Tony's mic, I should probably specify. That's not necessarily always the case, but especially with Tony Hinchcliffe, that's what he does.
Right.
And so,
No, I've seen my fair share, and I've seen what I love seeing is people like you or people that I've met personally go up, like the guy Martin Phillips.
Oh,
Oh,
Martin
yeah,
Phillips is a beast.
He's
He's a beast.
Of Jack Schwartz
Matilda
and
Epstein.
Matilda Epstein, the two of them.
Trish Smart.
Yes.
yeah, I think as far as I can remember, all those people did great.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because I love seeing people succeed, but I just as much, if not more, love watching them fail. So I will search yours and I will beat off to it later, just on principle.
No, I got you. Just
You
for the
have
record, I did redeem myself at the end.
He did
I
good
did.
in the interview,
good.
but the bombing was so bad I never
Good.
got to the interview.
That's
Well,
the
not
post-nut
even-
clarity that I'll have when I go,
Not even
okay, I
the
can feel good
interview.
about myself.
After the interview wasn't very good either. After
Yeah.
the
Oh,
interview,
really?
I was like, he was like, why are you doing that? Why did you?
But here's the thing: you don't sweat. You don't even shake. You don't get nervous at all, do you? Like
yeah.
when you're on stage.
Oh, I throw
Do you
up.
tremble?
before- He knows every single
But
time.
before, when you're out there, you're like.
Oh
you know,
yeah,
and then
when
you
I'm
do
on
your-
stage, my brain is blank. Like
Yeah.
I'm just doing it. But
I don't know how. I don't know how you do that. That's a gift.
Yeah,
He's been
thanks.
performing
Yeah,
since he was
you're
8.
an art major. Yeah, you're
Yeah, yeah.
It's
talking
like
about-
if you performed or do public speaking, you have such a huge advantage doing stand up. I did neither.
Yeah.
So I was a nervous wreck for years performing.
Well, also if you watch the video back, I look nervous on that show.
really, you think
I
so?
do. I think I do. At least knowing me, I think I do.
Like you were nervous about this. I'll just say, like, and we're all friends here. You said, casually that
Yeah.
like this was big, like freaking you out, like cameras
I've
and
never
shit.
done a podcast.
You've never done anything?
We're doing another one on Wednesday, and I'm
Right.
trying to do one with a dude out in Utah to
Uh-huh.
advertise that show here. So.
But then I don't believe you because like you're so natural doing this right now, like that. It's like fuck you,
Yeah.
right? It's
No,
like,
I've been there with
yeah,
him
yeah.
puking at like a local ass show. And
Really?
I'm like, what are you puking about?
That's me though. It's and
Yeah.
all the time with everything.
Oh, that's interesting because you seem so calm.
You think so?
Cool.
yeah.
No.
Yeah. You come in with a confidence. You have this quiet, threatening way about you. that like
Yeah.
where I was like, he's never once said anything mean to me, but I feel like he could beat the shit out of me. You know?
Beat the shit out of
I don't know why. You just have this like when you're on stage, you exude this power.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm like, it looks
Thank you, man.
badass.
I'm just saying your homophobia is
It could be an
poking out.
Italian
You're like, this
mob
dude's gonna
boss.
rape
Maybe
me.
it's Italian mob.
That's just, guys, all
Yeah.
going into the spank bank tonight. All of this, like every last second of this is
Yeah, every time you
fantastic
go
to
up at
learn.
nightcap, there's a moment where I'm nervous for you
Mhm.
because I want my friends to do well.
Right.
That's another thing is that when I watch comedy, I turn off my brain and I hope for the best.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, especially comedians, they're kind of watching like this, make me laugh. Like the worst audience members. Like that's why comics suck as audience members, because they're analyzing. They're not just having a good time.
Mhm.
And
Amen.
the day that I start watching stand up that way, where I'm like not having, I was like, can I still do stand up if I'm not a fan?
Mhm.
And when I see you, I'm always a little nervous. And then you just go in and you start kind of normal. And then there's that first punch. And it's like, ooh, there you go. He's got it. He's
Oh,
got
thank
it.
you,
And
man.
then you
That
just,
means a lot.
yeah, it feels like you are in control in this cool way that I don't feel like I do.
Really.
And I like it.
Well, I think what it is I mean, Lucio Pavarotti, one of the greatest opera singers of all time, said that he was nervous every time before a show. And I think really the truth is people show nerves in different ways. Like you show nerves by being a little bit quieter, a little bit more like, you know, in a way that I just, quite frankly, I've tried to do comedy that way and it never comes across well. Whereas I get nervous and my instinct is to like overly show my energy,
Your
and who I am.
engagement, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, let's go. And that's my nerves. That's how my nerves express themselves. And I think really the truth is, as a comic, just the trick to one of the steps that you have to do at some point is you have to be able to turn those nerves that you have into a character.
Sure. No, and I want to say, I'll come back to that because that's an excellent point. But I mean, like Angel, like to hear you say that about the way I perform, it when I said in the beginning, like this is surreal, even having you in here, like I mean that because in so many ways you're like a role model to me, and you have been since. No, but you know those people when you first started out, those people that you've seen at like the coolest places ever doing the thing that you're trying to do, like you've been one of those for me from like moment one of meeting you. So like to hear you think that I know even slightly what I'm doing, or that I look, you know, like I could deliver a joke or something. That's really cool to hear. Yeah,
it's one of those weird things where I accept my position in the comedy scene, but and it's not fake being humble. I see myself like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I also have to understand, like if I casually go like, oh man, well you suck as a comic, as a joke, you might take it seriously because of my position. And I'm like, oh man, I can't just be like regular and just talk shit.
Mm-hmm.
So like now I'm a little careful in that way. But for the most part, like when I see a comic, it's like, oh, this is automatically like my best friend because they're interesting.
Wow.
So
By default.
wait, so all those times that you told me I sucked, you weren't just talking crap the whole time? That was all real?
Oh, I meant it every time.
Oh, no.
But so with
All right, end of my career, guys. Angel doesn't approve of me.
No, yeah, that's a wrap. Again, once the transaction's over, it's he's
I
gonna
know.
just
Once Utah's done and that check is cleared,
he's up
I
and
know.
gone.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
By the way, again, autistic. This is a joke, right?
yes, it's
Okay.
a joke.
Checking in. Yeah.
I gotta make sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't have to
This
mask.
is not gonna be the
This is
last
real.
time any of us saw Spencer.
Oh wait, you're gonna black and white his image and then put a question mark? What happened to
Yeah.
Spencer?
This is a Dateline with it.
Tony heard you say that your mom was praying for his demise.
But I love what you do. Like truly, like that theater kid energy, you getting up there and acting it out,
Oh, thanks.
doing that is what speaks to me, because that's what I would love to do, man. Like I would love to get out there, you know, and just fly free and do funny, goofy shit and do cartwheels and you know and like vocal inflections, the whole thing. But it's just like you're describing. Like there's some part of you that creates a character. Or I've found anyway, that creates the stage persona, that just helps you deal with the nerves.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's come through for you in that way, and I'm sure, again, like Angel was saying, that comes from all your experience, learning to perform like that on stage, learning to feel comfortable enough in your skin to, to take risks performatively. But for me, that control element is being quiet and is like, and that's how I operate in life too, in a lot of ways.
But it comes off as confidence to me. But it comes off as like, oh, he knows exactly what he's doing, and it could be a lie, but it presents.
I don't know anything.
And no, I mean,
period. End of story. I am shitting bricks every time I talk to people. I get nervous talking to people. So what I do is I stay to. I've told Lorenzo this. I say I stay to myself. I try to look nice. I try to be present. I want people to see me.
Is that why you're always dressed like? I was like, is there a GQ shoot after this?
No.
Yeah.
But when people see me and when they see that I've performed, I want them to want to come up to me and start the conversation with me so that, I know they're interested. I don't want to ever have to approach somebody and feel like, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what's that. Maybe I have autism.
No,
or Asperger's.
I mean, apparently we're all on the spectrum a little bit.
Yeah.
But
you don't have to say it like that.
I just don't believe that.
He's a brother bear.
I don't believe the voice. Yeah. Well, I'm allowed to do the voice. Okay.
Like a big
I'm not allowed to do any Hispanic, Asian accents. No. I can only do
none of those Garbage Island voices. Yeah.
Those Garbage Island. No, but one of the underlining beliefs of people, which I think is bullcrap, because is that quiet is a sign of confidence in your own intelligence. And so it works for you to seem that way whereas I automatically, and I learned this pretty quickly, if I don't establish at the beginning that I'm kind of an idiot, and I know that I'm kind of an idiot, people think that I'm a full of myself white frat boy. Like just
there is that risk.
And so I have to get on stage and be like, what's up, guys? I know I'm weird. Like, don't worry. I'm like, it's the level.
I would love for you to do a whole set just in that voice.
Hey, everybody.
That's
I'm Tony Hinchcliffe. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
Lorenzo, do you have a nerve? How do you act when you get nervous?
Well, I'll say this before you start, Lorenzo. Like, Lorenzo doesn't come from a performance background at all. Like, I think similar to so Angel, I'm sure, would have a lot of insight for you, because I grew up playing music. I did at least 1 year theater in high school and shit, and then I did forensics for 3 years in high school, which is a public speaking club. It's not it's not Law and Order.
Like Bones.
Bones.
Yeah,
it's not that.
That's what I was thinking.
Right.
I was like, what the heck does that have to do with you talk to the skull? It's a lot of
right. No, forensics is like you stand up at a podium and you deliver a speech and you get rated on it. And I did it with a friend. I did like comedic interpretive duo, so the two of us would get up there and like read it.
I wouldn't even. I get nervous reading book reports, which is I'm not meant to be funny. Just reading,
right?
For some reason, I would just start shaking, and I don't know what it was, and then doing stand up kind of like knocked it out of me.
Delivering other things, like something someone else has written, I feel is easier for me to like lose myself in it and to really like hand myself over to the written word, right? But when I'm coming up with it, it feels too like self-aggrandizing to be like, okay, let me dump myself into this black lady impression, or you can always
find a random white dude on the street and have him start writing for you. That's what Angel did.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, man. The N-word bit he came up with, so good. So good.
So Lorenzo, you didn't do any of that in high school, not in college, and then you joined the military and everything. How is it navigating now in just like these past like year and a half, 2 years that you've been doing stand-up? How has it been to like, find your footing?
I mean, I've been taking it a little slow lately, but honestly, like, I just run out there, and honestly, lately, I haven't been necessarily practicing, and I think I'm gonna chill from a mic until I actually like work on the set, actually have some jokes to tell, because I don't know. I feel like I'm honest with myself, so I know if I'm like didn't do that good, and it's like I get this a mic and it's for trying new stuff, but I also want to present it well, because like I think of concepts randomly, I write them down. So then I just go on stage and I'm trying to guess how I'm gonna say these concepts, but I'm like, if I actually put effort into this
But
shit,
you don't, like what you're saying. Like if I actually put in effort, you don't like rehearse beforehand, do you? You don't like stand because what I had this curtain here for the longest time. I had a mic stand there. Audience viewers might recognize if you've been watching, listening for a while. I had a whole stand-up comedy setup right here because I would practice my shit right here in front of a camera and make sure my shit was tight and I looked nice. And for a while that worked, and then it became unsustainable for me because of what you're describing, the writing process. You know, like I couldn't keep up with myself when I was able to, you know, rehearse and get down packed.
So can I go into teacher comedy?
No,
teacher
please.
Mode?
Yeah.
So one thing I always tell comics is stage time matters more than anything else.
Right.
So I get it, taking a break. When somebody says, you know, I'm going to focus on writing and not do, I was like, on stage, the panic cannot be recreated at home. The panic of the moment. It's good to, you will be a better comic if you never write, but get on stage more. You should do both. You definitely should do both. But if you can get on stage, because I've been at a show where I do a joke that works every time. And for some reason on that night, on that day, it got nothing. And in the panic, you think of a line and it kills. And you're like, I'm going to say that forever because in my worst moment, it saved me.
Yeah.
And you're not nervous at home. You're not scared at home.
Now,
but when you're in front of the stage, even if it's just other comics who barely are paying attention, you feel the tension.
But you are, but I mean, you're constantly finding new jokes, and I'm sure, like you described, Lorenzo, like you write shit down that you think of in your day. When do you dedicate time to, you know, refine that? Do you just take like literally an offhand idea and then just take it out on stage and, you know, figure it out from there?
My process is I write down every idea in a Google Doc. And the reason I specify a Google Doc is because when you want to search for a joke, you'll sometimes find you have another joke with the same keyword and you're like, oh, I should combine these two.
Yeah.
Right? So you accidentally start building a set where you're like, oh, I can talk about this for a lot longer because I have these 2 or 3 jokes about
these threads that are,
Yeah, so
related.
a lot of times it's like I've been working on this Black Karens joke, right? We talk about white Karens, we never talk about Black Karens. And I think I haven't heard anyone say that. That seems interesting. So I'm going to work on this. And I just start with the idea. And then because a lot of my day is spent sending people videos or photos and stuff, the non-comedy stuff, when I have to go out to perform, that's when I do my serious writing.
Sure.
And it's pressure. In an ideal world, yes, I would write 6 hours at home and then go out with what I wrote. But it's not realistic right now. I got to side hustle a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. Like people forget. Yeah. I mean, like
I have the opposite. I have too much I want to write. You know. And so when you get to the point where you're like, I'm like, because time, there's so much wasted time in stand-up. So when people go like, yeah, I don't really have time to write, I'm like, what about when you're waiting for an hour and a half before you go up? Like, I sit there and write.
I don't know if you've seen me when I'm at Nightcap or wherever. I have my notebook, and that's my time to figure out my jokes and improve
honestly,
upon them.
So I started doing stand-up because I wanted to get stage time, because I wanted to get up on a stage and talk. I was a horrible writer. So the way that I kind of still am. I mean, I think I've gotten way better. I'm looking for validation.
I mean, you right.
You son of a gun.
As a role model, that really cut.
Just
that
like,
cut deep.
no, he's not a role model. It's okay. I know him too well. For
I have a lot of
role model
roles in my body.
Yeah. We call them.
We'll do the
husky
photo
models.
shoot later.
He's a husky model.
No, you obviously are a better writer, but at first you thought everything you said was gold, and then I'd give you nothing, and you'd be like, "Oh, the guy who laughs at everything gave me nothing. It must be bad."
Yeah. No, but I've gotten better because I write so much. I don't know what it is. Just every once in a while, I just get into I want to write a lot, and then I write a lot, and I delete almost all of it because then I read it back and I'm like, this is crap. This is not like good at all. But then you write a whole page, you get one sentence that's good. I'm better at being funny on the spot because of the years of improv, the years of theater. And so for me, I have one or two, and then I think my best lines have come from just me throwing something out there that I thought was going to land and it doesn't land, and so then I'm like, I need to add something to this to make it funny. And so then I just add something real quick. And I like my mom lives in Butler County. One of my newest lines that this just happened. My mom lives in Butler County, and Butler County is where Donald Trump went to get his ear pierced.
Yeah.
And that line, which is, you know, great. It's a good, it's not my best line, but it's the most recent one that I can think of, came from me being like, all right, I haven't gotten anyone laughing in the last like 10 seconds.
So you just add little tags in here and
little
there.
tags, little things like that. And I
your
don't,
story.
and then those things become what I've read. So, I mean, as a second witness to Angel's thing, stage time is the most important thing.
I will say too, yeah. I've had the most effective tag writing experience on stage in the moment because fight or flight kicks in and you're like, okay, what can I say right now? Like, what to think? Yeah. And then that impulse leads you to jump off that cliff that you might not feel compelled to when you're isolated in a vacuum or like on your own, right? And then once you've taken that leap, once you've, you know, finally gone on that adventure, then you can start getting wild with it and like, oh, there's this skill tree now. I can, you know,
and one thing that surprised me that you said is you wanted to be like high energy, kind of manic, like old Psycho over here, right?
Sure.
And I was like, that's surprising because you're not like that in regular talking to you.
Well, I was going to say on this, so yeah, I wanted to interject and say this way earlier when we got on this sidetrack. In a controlled environment like this, I do get wild. I do get crazy. Like, and I do impressions on this show. I do funny voices. If we talked about Tony long enough, or if we watched a video, like I would start to impersonate someone and then go on, you know, a tangent as them or something. But when it's not what I consider a controlled environment, more so when I feel like there's more at stake or more to lose by embarrassing myself, then it becomes reserved. And that's how I am in conversation too. When I meet someone, it's all about setting that first impression for me. And so like once I've gained your trust, then I'll start to, you know, open up more and become more wild. I think I've said retard more in this recording than I ever have. But that's because I know the two of you and I feel, you know, comfortable.
And you know we're retarded.
And I know, and I know that to be true.
Well, and it's funny because I have that same, I'm glad that you do that. Like, I'm real happy for you.
Sure.
That's how you do it, because you do come across, I mean, everyone loves you all over the comedy scene.
Oh, thank you.
And it comes across great. And I wish I was more like that. Because
you don't think people like you?
I think I do care about first impressions. I care about people liking me. But then the ADD autism stuff takes over and I just like go. Like the way I say it is,
you think you steamroll over people?
Yeah. The way I say is like, people, you are what you fill your cup with, and then when people bump into you, whatever you fill your cup with, that's what spills out. I get spilt over all the time. So in order for people to like me, I have to constantly be filling my cup with good things, with positivity, with all of
Maybe
that.
use less analogies like that, and people will,
I like analogies. I like it.
Thank you, my man. That's what I'm saying.
But
that's what I love about comedians. He's having this real, genuine moment, and you're just like, I'm going to shit on him so hard.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
But like, how about you stop being an asshole? How about you do that? I love that was your reaction. That to me, that's why comedians are better than regular people. Because anybody else would have been like, hey man, I really care about you and I love you. Yeah. They're like, or fuck you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is it's not like a woe is me thing. It's just something. It's just part of who I am, and I recognize that. And because of that, when you have a personality like mine, people either really like you, or they're like, I have no interest in being around you. In fact, you being around is a stressor.
What I find, and I'm the extreme of this, as we talked about, keep them guessing, right? Like, do not outplay your hand, right? This is poker, right? Yeah. Whether you like everybody or not. If you want to be friends with everyone or not, give them something to give them a blank canvas that they can see you as, right? And then let them paint in or fill your own cup. Give them an empty cup, or as empty a cup as possible, right? Yeah. So that they can drink whatever the fuck they want to.
Analogies are stupid.
It's tough. I think I did 4 or 5 just then, right? Just
but that's the thing. Is like, and I this is one of those. This is one of those things that I've just kind of had to realize is like, I get that and I want to be that way, but in the moment I just forget. And I just like, and to be honest with you, I get that and I understand the benefit of that.
I don't think it's as big a problem as what you think.
I agree because I'm a freaking Mona Lisa. And you don't friggin'...
No, you are beautiful.
That's not accurate, though. I'm probably a Jackson.
You're beautiful and a little chubby.
You're Mona Lisa. Yeah. You're a mediocre bitch.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're a little chubby, right? You could room for improvement, but
except you smile a lot. Yeah, that's the difference. She seems like kind of bothered. I was like, oh, this guy's taking way too long painting.
Yeah, that's why I grow my beard so you can only see half of my smile.
Did you ever play Santa in Utah or Hawaii? In Hawaii, you were Santa. You were Santa in Hawaii.
No. They have
for the little Dwayne Johnsons running around there like
they have way too many fat guys with beards around there for me to be Santa.
Really?
Yeah. No, I do have a Santa coat in my car right now, though.
But is it like a black Santa there, or like the equivalent, like brown Santa?
Like a brown Santa.
Yeah.
I mean, they got fat white dudes there too. I don't know if you've ever seen Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
The big guy that drops his ice.
That's more like Thailand, I think, with like like the sex tourism. There's not as much of that.
Yeah.
But Hawaii. But one thing, speaking of what you want to be on stage, so for me, anything I am bad at, I write for me to have to deal with it.
I do too.
So if you want, like, there's a bit. At Adam's Bomb, when they would do the boomerang, my boomerangs was just me stiff standing there, not moving.
Yeah.
And I hated that. I was like, how come I'm not expressive when I'm talking?
That's my biggest note for myself is move around. And Mike B actually pulled me aside one night. He was like, hey, you got everything going for you. You just need to move around more. That's all I'll tell you. You need to get out there and, like get loose, shake it up. Because like right now you're like standing still. You have everything else.
And I did a show with...
Every time I hear that Mike B gives somebody advice, I'm like, man, I wish I was black. So he would give two craps about what I'm doing on stage.
Mike B is just like, he'll figure it out.
Yeah, he's like, he'll figure it out.
They have it covered.
He's got a trust fund he can fall back on or something.
Nah, but like,
that's awesome.
So for example, I did our Zeus show called Uncaged, where she just wanted comics to do weird stuff.
Okay.
And I did this bit where this techno song is playing, and there's a recording of me talking about hating work, right? And the reason I had that as a thing I can do was because I was like, okay, if I'm not allowed to speak, everything I do has to be physical. So I had to act out the entire thing. I wasn't actually saying anything, but you heard my voice. And it really taught me to be more physical. And after I did,
you realize you did drag, right?
Basically, that was mainly the people at the show. But
I just want to destigmatize drag.
I just did drag, but for people who hate their job.
There you go. Yeah.
And so I did the thing, and I did this act out, and afterwards I was like, well, I don't know if that made me better, but like months later I was like, oh, I moved more. I got used to it, and you just have to put yourself. So, for example, I would do shows and all the guys would be like, that was so funny, you were great. And the women would be like, eh. So I was like, okay, I got to write jokes to make them laugh.
Right.
And so my opener, which became my opener for every show because it crushed, was like...
Well, maybe don't say it, because then if people watch...
No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. But it did so
Spencer,
well.
what the fuck is wrong with you? I want clips.
Come buy tickets to a show.
I'll be doing it.
You came all the way to Stafford just to like hold out on me.
I'm trying to like edge you. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, like Tony here, just edging the entire goddamn time.
Edge the entire Trump rally.
Yeah, so I will write things
When is
that
he
I'm
gonna say
bad
the
at.
N-word?
Whatever I'm bad at. You're not moving enough. You're not doing this enough. I will write towards that and put myself in a position where, like my big bit that like I close on normally, it came from, okay, what if I do a joke where I don't say the word, but I put the word in the audience's head?
Right.
And that's where that joke
That's
came
mind
from.
control. I love when people do that.
Yeah, and then I did the opposite, where it's a joke where I can get away with saying it a bunch of times, right? So it's always like, it's kind of a game where it's like, oh, here's the writing game. And the writing game always starts with, I am bad at this. How do we write something that gets you there? And but now I've gotten to the point where I'm more comfortable on stage, and I just kind of have to remind myself every once in a while to do the act outs and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And next year, I'm making a big change where I'm definitely going to be more of me on stage, and it's making him very nervous.
A bad move,
right? Because I
feel like I'm, Trump's handler.
Are you? Yeah. Are you like Jordan Peterson for real?
So,
like, is that why?
So I am naturally unlikable.
That's not accurate.
Here's the thing. It's not. I think I'm great.
Lorenzo's curious. Yeah. He's like, ooh.
Okay, so
I am.
think I'm awesome. Right? That's how I feel about myself.
Real quick, I just want to preface this by saying, off camera, I told them that you think you're God, that you think that you are like a divine being. What I tell you, I said he knows. I said he knows he's God. He's certain of it. So you're preaching to the choir,
Yes.
right? The two of you.
Yeah, I think I'm awesome, but the way I come off on stage, I always feel like I have to win them over. Right? Especially in DC. DC is a very sensitive place to perform. And I have to win them over, and I would use a lot of my clean material to earn enough kind of like points so I could do the real material I want to do. And because I'm doing his show, which is like church clean, I'm going to use all my clean material on that show. And I'm like, you know what? When I shoot my special, I'm not going to repeat any of this material. I'm only going to do the jokes I truly love without the ability to babysit myself with this cleaner material that's like, because all my stuff is like kind of just hating on myself. And it's true that I know it's not good, but I don't actually feel bad about myself. That's kind of the difference. And I was like, okay, what if I just did my comedy the way I want to, and I'm going to do bad. I'm going to do really bad. But
how do you mean? What do you think will go?
Because I'm
wrong?
I'm not going to use the tricks. Like one trick is to smile, right? And sometimes I'm like smiling and it's completely fake, but it works. Right?
That's me. Every time you see me smile on stage, I'm trying to tell everyone it's okay.
Yeah,
because I don't smile naturally.
And I would love to know, because sometimes my brother, because he knows me very well, when he sees me perform and he sees me, he knows the difference between a real like, hey guys, I'm a friendly guy, you shouldn't take this serious smile, and he knows when I'm like, ooh, Angel loved how that landed, and he loved how dark it was, and he loved that they're laughing when they don't want to laugh. He knows the difference between the two smiles. And I was like, I want to be that guy. And again, I don't want to upset people. That's not my goal. I genuinely find these things funny. Something bad happens, here's what's funny about it. And I was like, what if I just push through and get to the moment where I still make them laugh despite them not wanting to, despite me not doing anything to make them like me. I already know how to do the make them like me version.
Dude, I really
but
think
what's the version where you don't?
I think if you went to Austin, you'd do really well. Because when I was there, everyone was like,
that's what they want. They want the what's the Big J Okerson crew? What's that?
Skank
Legion of Skanks.
Yeah.
Fucking fuckface here on the screen. We've had him on the screen this entire fucking time.
He'd love it. It's making me angry, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, but before,
is this traumatizing for you?
It's traumatizing.
He's been staring at off to the side, looking heroic, Tony Hinchcliffe in this like superhero pose.
Guys, don't say anything because this retard is gonna.
He's been
this
like this the
retard has to
entire
repeat
time.
everything you say.
Wow.
That's actually pretty good.
I am gonna find it.
It's 6.
Are you okay if I splice it in?
Oh, he's about to say the number.
I'm fine. Episode 645.
Wait, hold on, hang on. I don't. Well, yeah.
Well,
If you have it recorded, you can just go back.
Who's a retard
Episode
now?
645. Because here's the thing. I'm going to say this too in case anyone go. I'm way better now.
Yes.
I'm so much better.
Isn't
and you'll
that
see, that'll
liberating
be the first
feeling?
time you ever see me nervous.
Isn't that liberating though to know like, oh, I can let this fly now because I am like leaps and bounds beyond this. The earliest recordings of myself, while they stay unlisted and privated on YouTube or Google Drives or whatever, like if somebody got their hands on one, I could just show them like the latest and be like, you're really going to say this is the same fucking person up there, or that if anything, it's just it's a marker or it's a checkpoint of like how much market improvement I've made from then to now.
I'm fully prepared to go back and kill it. Like that's one of my goals is to go back and kill it, get on, kill it, and kind of just like in his face
and kill
like,
Tony.
Yeah, and literally I keep.
You're
going to
bring a gun.
Right now, but I have
you keep a firearm
says,
to kill him with.
Oh. I do not.
Like Liam Neeson,
Listen.
like on a mission.
Dressed like this, I need to specify. I do not have a gun on. I do
I
not.
was going to say, you're not hot in that, but like, feel free to undress.
It's literally, it's a shirt.
I will, again,
I'm also wearing
to
a
reiterate, I am
jazz
going to
shirt
spank you later,
underneath
so
this,
we
and I
need
don't
to,
want-
yeah.
I'm
I
wearing
want
a
people to
Dave's
know.
You
Old
said a
Porn.
jazz shirt?
like the basketball team.
Oh, never mind.
yeah,
Fuck
not
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
that. You had me
It's
all
a
excited.
different kind of gay. They are awful.
Now I have to spank you because you led me on. Yes.
Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah, your musical
I tend
jazz.
to do that with gay people.
Yeah.
But what was I saying before?
Something about being gay and into
You want to
jazz.
go and do well on his show.
Yeah, I want to go and do well. And honestly, I have a lot to thank for that show because now, like the first time I did really the only time I've done the Comedy Loft when I got to open for someone, I was nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, first time at an actual comedy club doing comedy. And then I realized I was like, wait a second. I performed on the Mothership. Like I performed on Kill Tony on the Mothership, which is way bigger than the 45
Literally, you've been seen by
people.
millions of people.
Yeah, which is way bigger than the 45 people. And I completely failed. And guess what? My comedy career did not end.
Did you say the number, the full number?
Yeah, episode 645, and I'm 1 hour and 20 minutes in. Is
Okay.
when I start.
Holy shit, he's got that down.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I just sent it to someone.
Oh, yeah.
I
No,
just
I get
sent
that.
it to my stepbrother.
Even if you hadn't, it'd be okay to admit that because that's something that you don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
Especially an
I would
experience
know.
like that. An experience that
Every bomb
If it was-
randomly haunts you during the day.
Oh my God, yes.
Watch the whole thing, though,
Oh
because
my
at
God.
the end, I sing an improvised song.
Oh no.
And it,
God.
okay, well, F you guys.
Keep that to yourself.
Tony said I redeemed myself, okay?
It's like someone trying to plug their fucking SoundCloud or some shit. Oh yeah, listen to my shit, bruh. I'm
Yeah.
real good. I'm real nice.
Shh, cut the shit like you don't do that all the fucking time. Enough.
Oh, mixtape Lorenzo's different though.
Yeah, that's how this started, man. We made music together in Blacksburg, Virginia,
Fire
Virginia
music.
Tech, right?
Yeah.
We were both just
Yeah.
working there at a grocery store, and I had all this music equipment, and I was getting microphones to like record my trumpet and shit with. And then when the pandemic happened, I was like, I just told this to Charlotte on the last episode, but I'll say it every single episode. We
No, it's
decided
cute. It's your relationship
to
story.
fucking try a podcast or try to make YouTube shit. You asked if I wanted to be a streamer. Yeah, like any one of those things, like make commentary videos, like anything. I just wanted to get started on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, can you come help me do something because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
That's the first step to anything. Man.
That's
That's why I
exactly-
got started doing stand-up was because I was literally just like, I need to perform. I need to just start doing something.
Mhm.
My first stand-up bit was not good. Like it was, I think I started off the set being like, hey guys, just so you know, because in my head,
Do you have
all
it
I-
recorded? Do you have it?
my very first set
Yeah.
ever? Maybe. I don't know.
Do you guys have those like
I have my
uploaded?
first set ever.
Do you have them uploaded? Like, can I
Onto, like,
access it like
YouTube?
right now?
No.
it's on Facebook.
Facebook.
I have the file.
2013. Even though I've been doing, I count from when I did it consistently
yeah.
comedy, so I don't count. Technically, 2013 was the first time I ever stepped on stage, but it was like very scattered when I got on. I'm talking like maybe 2-3 times a year
Right.
up until like 2019
Mhm.
January. That's when I was like,
Like you
okay.
still had self-respect and like you decided like
No, I was too scared. I was too chicken. And after 2 weeks of doing open mics, I
that's what I mean though.
it's
like
hard
you-
to explain
yeah.
to somebody.
You didn't
it
wanna-
doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter,
But
but
you-
you think it's so important.
Exactly. That's what I mean by self-respect. Like you thought, like I am bigger than this. I don't want to embarrass myself. You know. Like,
No, it was the
I'm
opposite.
doing this for my own enjoyment, embarrassing myself, like flogging myself.
No, I had the opposite. I thought this is so important. You can't mess this up.
Right.
I think this is important. If you can't tell from the way Angel talks about comedy versus the way I talk, I'm like, get up there and act stupid, man. Like, who cares?
Well, that's because you believe there's a higher power, and that's what. But to us, comedy is the higher power.
Well, and
like
that's the
this
thing,
is
is
in
like
service of the
Angel's-
performance.
Angel's a comedy fan,
Yeah.
and I'm a fan of entertaining.
hmm
So that's why my first bit, when I got up, I started off by the only thing that I knew about stand up was the clips of like crowd work. So in my head, that's what it was, as well as like I'd watched some specials and stuff, so I knew some like. The first thing I said when I got on stage was, "Hey guys, my stand up comedy style is a lot like a bad first date. I'm just gonna stand up here and talk about myself the entire time, and you can sit there and listen."
Yeah.
I'd appreciate it if you laughed, out of pity or because it's funny.
Oh, this is still the joke.
I can't tell the difference.
Wow.
That was how I started my first. It's not good. Like
No. Like I thought you broke after the first.
Nope.
Punch.
No,
No, that's awesome.
That's
I sometimes have to tell other comics, he once jokingly got lit at 2 minutes, and he got off stage a minute later.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You can't do that to Spencer. Spencer is very literal."
Mm-hmm.
John. Do you know John Yeager?
Yes.
Yeah, John was the one that did that, and I'd had like barely a conversation with him before that moment. Otherwise,
John's a different type of autistic. I feel like.
Yeah, we get along great.
Him
now.
and Mark Norman, he's just like a slightly older Mark Norman, where he's just like he just always is saying jokes. He can't help himself. Oh, word association.
Constant.
Yeah.
But he said to me this last time I talked to him, he's like, I kind of forgot that I did that to you. I think I'm just going to do that to you every time from now on. He's like, it's just going to be a running gag between us. I was like, okay.
The first time
Thank you for telling me that first.
Right.
Instead of just...
The first time I had a conversation with him, it was outside of Fat Pete's, and like he said the N-word, hard R, and I was really just like, Jonathan.
Oh my gosh.
But it was just for a joke, like he was like, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The joke wouldn't be as good if I didn't say it the way I want to say it, so I'm just going to, is it okay if and then he just said it. And then I was like, whoa, Jesus.
And I will
Christ.
I will say, because I'd probably had the only genuine conversation he's ever had in his life with him recently. Because he called me about I had some of his...
So you don't get those with Mike, but you get them with John.
Yeah,
right?
I get
because he's white.
I get the Jewish guys, which is great. It's another way of me getting higher up into the comedy scene. It's either Jews or black people, and I wanted the black people, but they were like,
They play hard to get.
I know.
Trust me, I know.
Lorenzo's still iffy on you. Don't worry. He'll get there.
He's nodded a few times.
Thanks, Lorenzo. I appreciate it.
Once you became...
Just for the record, the black people like me more than Angel, okay?
When
we go to shows.
First of all, it's only when I decide to do my white people set in front of black people that I bomb, okay?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'll take Tony down now. I think you've had enough. I think
Thank you. I appreciate
we don't even need to I was going to watch some of it, but we've had such a more fulfilling conversation stemming from this.
Don't worry, we don't need to involve him.
We don't need to do that. But
I actually have another goal to headline a show at the Comedy Loft and get a poster put up on the wall, just so I can put a poster over his face.
Wow. So this is vitriol.
This is here's the thing. If I end up working with him, that's great. It's not like a personal thing.
Like a vendetta.
It's like a career thing. It's like it keeps the motor going, No,
I love having those types of goals. Like for me, a goal currently is outside of wanting to go up at the Comedy Loft or at the DC Improv on just like an open mic or something like that, or any entry level thing I can get. Other tiny side missions or things like that competition you and I did right at the Electric Palm. I want to go back and I want to do way better and and prove that I'm improving to myself. And the same goes for every other one of those types of things I've been to. And you just log those in your head. I can't imagine how traumatic it must be that this huge thing that you built up, even if you were just driving around in Texas and it just happened to be something that you could stop in and do, the fact that it happened and you have record of it and you remember down to the exact timestamp, everything, right? That's cool to me. That's that's a true origin story, because when you do blow up, and you're going to get famous. Praise be, right?
One of my goals is to have Angel asking me for advice. That's not acting. He'll ask me for acting, stage presence stuff. And I'm
because he's good at it.
Because
you are,
And I'm like, okay, here. But most of the time, I'm like, Angel, how do you write a joke about writing? What is this? And one of my goals is to just have him carry my bag into a comedy scene. But me to be like, hey, do you have a guest spot for my buddy here instead of the other way around?
Good luck with that.
But when you are making enough money to be alluring enough for Angel to come back to you and to latch himself
100% after the Utah show,
he's going to get famous.
The two of you are going to be, a great duo or whatever becomes of both of you, respectively.
No,
but
we do.
He'll be Chappelle. I'll be Neil Brennan. But I'll be happy. I'll be happier as Neil Brennan.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
Don't even.
But you'll have that. You'll have that when you go do interviews and shit, and you'll be like, oh, I went on Kill Tony and I bombed, and you can see it here, and they're like, let's watch the clip. I'm like, oh my god, that's a gift in and of itself, right?
No, I mean, he's, God bless for sure, 100%.
He works in mysterious ways, doesn't he?
He does.
Most of those are calling you a retard to your face, I imagine. But
So far, all of my great moments have come from somebody being like, look at this retard. Even Angel, I was like, well, actually, Angel's was like, look at this retard. Oh, he has a car. Could you give me a ride home?
How do you feel about that word? And then I do want to come back to what we were talking
So
about.
I will. So my opinion on that word has changed a lot, because growing up, I didn't care about anyone, so I was like, whatever you want. Like, I never said I never said the N-word, but it was because I was like, I don't want to get beat up. It wasn't because something. It's not because I thought that there was something wrong with it. Because
these niggas are gonna fight.
Because I was a bad kid. Well, the school I grew up in, there were gangs and
outside of Baltimore. Yeah.
So I was like, if I even say it in the car by myself, someone will see me driving by.
Phantom nigga.
Yeah, exactly. So
they lurk in the shadows.
But I was just a bad kid, so I was like, whatever. And then I worked with children with autism, and I have I was diagnosed with dyslexia at a young age. Didn't get diagnosed with autism until like 2021 was when I talked to and then it was like, oh,
late in the game.
Well, and because like in the environment that I was growing up, reading social cues wasn't really that
That's important. A lot of people, and for you to take it just at face value and to accept that about yourself, did that happen all at once, or was that something that you grappled with?
Well, I always knew, because my parents, my family and my parents and everyone always have to, and even angels have to explain social nuance to me. Like I don't, in my head, if it doesn't make logical sense, then it doesn't matter. And the logical sense does not include how does this make people feel.
Sure. So to cut you off, because we'll get on a whole thing from there. But so when you worked with kids with special needs, when was that? Was that before or after your diagnosis?
It was before when I started.
Okay.
So 2020, and I was thinking about becoming a psychiatrist. I shadowed a psychiatrist, and he talking to me was like, so I can't officially diagnose you because you don't have insurance.
Yeah.
But
here's like a pro tip, a gamer tip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I just was like, that's good enough for me. That's
I mean, he gave you the cheat codes.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel more empowered now that you understand yourself a little bit better, like from the outside.
It doesn't change it. It's really just like, it's kind of like somebody being like, oh, by the way, your middle name is like Fareed or something.
It's this thing that's always existed about you.
And you're like, but now you have a name for it.
Well, from my perspective, he's also open in that he'll be like, hey, that social interaction, was that weird? And I'm like, no, it was perfectly fine, you did well. And then it was like, hey, that other social interaction, you talk.
Did you always do that though? Like you said, your family would give you shit.
Oh yeah. Growing, because like even in like doing theater, like I would practice making faces that mean certain emotions in the mirror. And then what I learned is, if somebody even slightly makes a face close to this, like if I say something and someone goes, or like their brows raise even slightly, what I just said hit them. I used to think, they liked what I said. Now I know it just surprised them in some way. Now I know that maybe they thought it was funny, maybe it made them happy, but it just, they felt emotion.
So working with kids is what changed your perspective on the R word.
No, I realized that it really can hurt someone's feelings if they're not comfortable with their own handicaps.
If they haven't, in the way that in the gift you've been given of, I fully understand myself, I have complete and total agency over my well, and I think I was disability.
Really blessed to be diagnosed with dyslexia first, because being diagnosed with dyslexia, the way I was diagnosed was, hey, you came here, you already know the issues that dyslexia brings. You can't read, like that's why you're here in the first place. Here's the strengths that you don't know because of it. And then learning as much as I did about autism and then being diagnosed, I was like, in my head, it wasn't, oh, here's all the problems. Because I knew I had the reason why I got diagnosed in the first place was because I was talking about my dating life and the problems I was experiencing having them. And
was that the substitute for like the standard test that they give people?
Yeah, he basically.
Yeah.
Well, and then he asked me a couple.
How
more
do women
questions.
react to you? What kinds of questions are you leading with?
So wait, real quick. What do you do on these dates? You have a hard time explaining what you do on these dates.
Normally, the form is like, "What is the shape?" Name the or like,
you don't
finish
know
the
how
sentence.
somebody's gonna take what you're saying.
Yeah.
When you say it, you only realize how they feel about it after the fact because they show you in their face. Yeah. Like I've tried really hard and I've gotten a little better at it.
You can't anticipate people's.
I can't anticipate how people are going to
Wow.
feel. So, and when I do, because I anticipate it based on how I'm going to feel about something, and I'm not going to feel the same about something as you guys are necessarily, and you guys aren't going to feel the same way as somebody else does. And so, in my head, like me being like, oh yeah, I feel like I've gotten really fat recently. You guys are going to look at me and be like, what is this skinny chicken-legged? What is Hey Hey from Moana really saying there?
Sure.
But if I say that in front of my like skinny white friends, they're gonna be like, especially or like skinny white female friends, like my roommates. I live with 3 women, and they get like, oh no, don't feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm making a joke, like I'm trying to be funny, and they're taking it very seriously, and it doesn't register in my head. They're going to take this seriously until after I.
Yeah. Well, to quote a great man, an American hero, they didn't used to call it depression; they called it melancholy. You know.
Oh yeah.
In your case, they would have called, but you have probably selfishness, or like
Yeah. No, my dad used to call me a spaz growing up.
And that's Donald Trump, by the way, who said that quote that I he said that on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about Abraham Lincoln. He was depressed. They used to call it melancholy. They didn't call it depression.
Dude, that Trump impression is
his son Ted, he had a son Ted, and he was sick, and they were all depressed. They all you gotta listen to this fucking. It's great. It's an outstanding 3 hours of your life that you'll never get back.
I won't, because I just don't have 3 hours of my life to waste.
Growing up, did people think that you were self-centered?
Oh yeah. Well, people thought
because you just want to get to the end of your.
And I was condescending. Like even when I was working with children with autism and knew I was autistic, I'd have coworkers being like, "Spencer's really condescending," and it's like, no, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm explaining my side. Let's get this figured out. And I did it with such earnestness that they saw it as, which is why I didn't get diagnosed. Because in Baltimore, with like a highly Jewish theater crowd,
everyone's fighting for attention. Everyone,
high energy, arguing. Yeah, like one time I did a show and my mentor Toby, she's the best. She talks like this, and she's like, Spencer, I love you. I taught you everything you know.
Yeah.
She one time said to me after I did a set, Spencer, that was caca. Do it again, but this time just do it better.
Yeah, that's how you talk to a child, by the way.
Yeah. And that's in my head. That's how you talk to people.
Yeah.
So then I would go to my coworkers. I'd be like, hey, Sarah, the way you handled that situation was crap.
Yeah.
Do it again, but this time do it better. And in my head, that's a totally normal. Yeah.
You'd be an incredible salesperson, or just
I was when I sold pest control for 2 weeks. And I did really well.
You would have outstanding numbers because it's really just about driving home.
My favorite part is his overconfidence. Whenever we're in the car,
I was going to say, how does any of this speak to you as a person of color? Because you would have just been beaten if you behaved like this, wouldn't you? My mom's right over there.
I want to specify, I was beaten. My dad is very Italian. Okay,
got you.
That's why I make eye contact now. Is because every time I wouldn't look at my dad, he'd be like, "Hey, look at me." Look at me.
Shit.
But then it's don't look at me. Why you?
Yeah. Especially when I catch him with his Puerto Rican supermodel girlfriend. It's like, don't look at me.
Yeah.
Anyways, what were you saying?
It's that you have this.
That was considerate. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, not all white people want to hear themselves all the time. This is why us white people aren't as bad as. Go ahead, Angel.
That when
I give you permission to speak.
Thank you.
See, I'm half white.
Thank you, Massa.
You're fighting for your life. Yeah.
No,
That's
but
the clip right there.
Yeah, that's the clip. Holy crap.
black guy bows down to white guy.
Yeah. Uncle Tom gives in to Trump supporting kid.
I always wanted to
That's like-
sell a branding of clothes called Uncle Tommy Hilfiger.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
I'm looking at this a little different now. I'm like,
All right, again, I'm autistic. That's not okay, right?
No, that's not okay.
Good.
It's not okay. But you would get in the car and you'd be like, "I'm so funny,"
Mhm.
and I was like, I don't want to destroy your confidence ever, because it's like he just has this belief in himself
Yeah.
that
Damn.
it's not. He's not. I know comics who are truly delusional, so it's not delusional. It's like if he does bad, he knows.
And what I said earlier, I said it, jokingly. I love watching people fail, right? I don't. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you do well. I want to see everybody,
I
triumph.
squirm when
right
people
back
fail.
at you.
And exactly, I'm. It's like pins and needles, all of those feelings. I'm feeling them with you. But when you do see somebody who's batting out of their league and they do, subpar, or if they think they're the shit and they're not, and then they get it handed to them.
Oh yeah.
That's that's only in service to them. That's like I take that, while I don't take any pride and joy in witnessing it, I also don't think it's my place to tell somebody, just like you with that guy who I won't say. We haven't said his name on here, but with those bringer shows, you think people just you need to go there,
Yeah, you need
think
to
you're the shit, and then realize you're not, and that you got
You got to do.
Well,
you got conned.
Because sometimes you're in a situation where if I say this thing,
Mhm.
I'm going to come off as a bad guy because you will not have experienced
Yes.
the negative thing.
Yeah.
So I realize
It's going to come off as arrogance, or
It's like the kid playing with the outlet. You go, don't touch the outlet, you'll get electrocuted. And then the kid does it anyway, and you just have to watch.
And
And,
then
you're
they
like,
die.
wait for the moment so you
Yeah.
can save them. And then they start crying, and then they never do it again.
Mhm.
It happened to me, happened to my little brother, except
Yeah.
it happened to my little brother 3 times because he didn't listen.
Really?
Yes, he had to get electrocuted multiple times before he was like, all right, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Holy shit.
Oh, I thought you meant with the like dude that rips off comics thing. I thought you were saying
Oh.
No.
David 3 times.
No,
Got-
no.
I was
no.
like,
That David would play with the outlet.
No,
and-
that's worse than
That's
that.
way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With like a fork.
Yeah.
You,
It kinda
you did this
no,
gesture.
he would plug something in and out, and then basically because it happened to me, your finger will at some point accidentally touch the metal when you're plugging it in.
Really?
And then he got it, he was like, "Ugh," and he started crying. "Ah."
Yeah.
And I was like,
What
yeah.
a bitch.
And I just watched
I
it
know.
happen.
Yeah.
And it was like my brother was one of those. He has to
Mhm.
learn the hard way.
And
And
you
some
tell
people are
him-
built like
You
that.
tell him, build your pain tolerance, son.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Maybe you'll get electric
Business
powers.
coming
Do it
around.
one more
Yeah,
time.
do one more time. Electro.
Static
Jamie
shock
Foxx,
this.
bitch ass.
Actually, why you gotta say the black
Yeah.
superhero? I'm
Okay,
just fucking
because
with you.
all-
Just
Because all the electric superheroes
That was my
are
favorite.
black.
Yeah.
That's my
Just-
favorite cartoon, Static Shock.
That was my
I
favorite
love that
cartoon
one.
too.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. Do you think they have that on some streaming platform? Do you think they have that
They
on?
were going to make a
Maybe,
live action Static Shock, weren't they, for a time?
That
I
was
thought so.
rumored forever.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
Smith's son.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I
don't-
probably shouldn't have had
oh,
that reaction. I
Yeah.
just feel like
I know, like damn.
Nah, that's a weird kid to be Static Shock. Static Shock was cool.
yeah.
Lorenzo
plus
should be Static Shock.
Static Shock had like a normal life, you know.
Yeah.
True,
Yeah, he's not.
yeah.
He doesn't have delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, Static. Plus, I want the person to be able to
Mhm.
act. You know.
But you're saying growing up, you didn't have a lot of room to, to speak out, and, to really be a force of anything, right? Without your parents intervening or telling you or putting you in your place. Like with you, I imagine you had plenty of opportunities to get your ass beat by other people before your parents
Oh,
did
dude,
anything.
middle school, I literally had no friends. I
Yeah.
had no.
right.
I had no friends all of 7th grade.
But Angel's parents are teaching him, if you talk to people like that, they'll smack you. So I'm going to do it here in the house.
You know what
Oh.
was weird is so like I'm not a big fan of Trevor Noah,
Really?
but I found out me and Trevor Noah have a shit ton in common. And
Huh.
I grew up in a volatile household, right? And there's always a sense of danger in my household because of it. And through watching him being interviewed on podcasts, I found out, oh yeah, that's why I can do that. And I have I used to think I had no ability to like have empathy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more like I'm dealing with your emotion 2 steps from now. I'm not dealing with your emotion now. I'm like, I'm gonna say this, you're gonna say this, I'm gonna say this, and this is how you're gonna feel.
Right.
So it's probably really condescending now that I think about it. But I'm like ahead, and a lot of times I'll be having a conversation with like my brother, my sister, and because of how volatile my household was, you had to predict people's behavior, and I got really good at it.
No kidding.
And so I would be like, I'd meet people and I'd be like, I don't like this person, and they haven't done anything to prove me, but whatever things I pick up on, and then later on they fulfill it.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are like, well, you can do that for anybody. I'm like, no, I don't say that about everybody. The last time I was surprised was like when I was a kid. But ever since then, I meet somebody, I'm like, this person's a good person. I immediately knew Spencer's a good person.
Well,
Had
in
no
all fairness, I am a Mormon, so it's pretty.
Yeah, Mormons are kind of the cheat code. Yeah, Mormons are they're pretty dope.
You know,
They're
when
usually
you
super
when you
nice.
follow God, it's crazy how.
All right.
You're like, end of
Thank
the
you for
podcast.
joining, everybody. You know, you say that, I was going to end it there. I'm in all seriousness, because like something's frozen on my screen. I want to make sure we don't lose everything, because we've been going, believe it or not, almost 2 hours now.
Oh,
Whoa.
Yeah, that's how
Holy cow.
time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
Flies.
I want to make sure we have all this locked down, locked
Yeah.
in, but this won't be the last of us in this room, I imagine, or remotely. I want to get you back on here as much as you're willing to subject
Of
yourself
course.
This was fun.
to Lorenzo and I.
Angel. I mean, we basically talked about ourselves the entire time. That's like
I can
That's
do
the
that
goal.
forever.
Yeah, I mean, I did want to run this by you though before we wrap. So I do a mic where you bring your new jokes and like work them out, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a utility in that, right? There's not as much a utility in this, but I think it'd be fun to do a show of some kind where you bring those jokes that you hate, that you wrote and that have never worked, and that you perform those, right? Even if it means bringing your notebook on stage and just reading it verbatim, like the jokes that you were describing. Like I would write things and not like a lick of it, or it would feel
like-
corny, or it would feel forced, or it would feel bad. I would love to see.
just isn't funny.
I would love to see outstanding performers deliver that.
My first set, knowing what I know about how people perceive me on stage, again, me not being likable, it's not me feeling bad about myself. It's like, oh, I have to earn it with you guys.
Yeah,
If I did my first set now, I'd be so scared. Because
that's what I want,
I went in and talked about things that you shouldn't. I was making the most insane jokes. And in the moment, at that time, I was getting laughs. But I was like, I can't believe I went on stage and said it.
You step outside of yourself and you go, holy shit, like people, not only did I say that and I'm wrong for that in my own, way of thinking, but the way people responded to this, that was my first set. The same thing. I think I did some pretty bad shit. And if you had your clips at the ready, we would have done 1, 2, 3 and watched them so we could compare notes. That would be really fun.
I
Next time, if you find like your earliest clip that you have on record and you want to do that, I would love to do that.
My brother's on stage with me.
Oh, yeah.
I literally told him sit behind me as just a comfort thing.
Right.
And I'm just saying jokes where I'm like, I can't believe I got up on stage and said this stuff. Like, but in a weird way, I kind of want to get back to that confidence of being able to get on stage and just going for it.
So I think if there is a utility in doing a show like that, where you read some of your earliest material or some of the material that you wrote and never even performed because it was that bad, but you have it stowed away somewhere, you have it in that notebook of yours.
I'll tell it to other comics.
Yeah,
like other comics will be like, yo, I got this one joke and I never said it on stage.
I want to see that. I want to do an open mic in a room with comedians where we all know each other's pain.
No audience allowed.
Yeah, no audience whatsoever.
Maybe that's the name of the show. No audience allowed.
No audience allowed.
You could also just call it like the worst open mic. You could just call it the worst,
or the first open mic, or something like where it's like you get up there and do some godforsaken ugly shit.
Yeah.
But that's been a looming sort of thought. I just don't. There's definitely not a market for it right now. So, and then what we are doing currently, what Cheers is doing is, and this isn't a Cheers affiliate. You asked me earlier. That's a different thing, but. We're doing a writing workshop every month at Aurora Market, and I would love to have everything you guys have described tonight about your writing process and about your tips and tricks. I would love to have you there, almost as like not proctors, but like chaperones, if you will. You know, just like patrolling the room, like there, like your brother was on stage. You know, there to like tap for help if anyone needs, you know, like pointers or anything, right?
Yeah. Let us know when it is.
If you're ever interested, and it goes both ways. If you want to write something while you're there, and you need me or someone else that you admire there to help you, you know, with a certain idea. Yeah,
block out some time every day to write stuff. Anyways, might as well do it there.
Definitely.
If
it's once a month.
Obviously, if it works in our schedules.
Right.
But...
No, it's a free, top to bottom free thing. So I couldn't probably pay you much, if anything. I know that your time is valuable, but if it does line up with, you know, your free time,
it kind of depends on what day it is. But there's
definitely
Sundays are kind of weak in general. Okay. So if it's like on a Sunday, I'm like, yep, I could go.
I think it is actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I got to look at it, but that's all I wanted to conscript you guys to. He got you to be vegan. Yeah. That's great. You got your vegan cards in the mail, I'm sure.
I literally am only eating meat right now, so actually,
yeah.
Well, and you guys converted me to Jordan Peterson.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
That's great.
You're gonna tie dye the other side of your jacket. So we're just coming to that right now. Let's do the pluggies, all that good jazz. So I'll pull up your Instagram here, but do you have anything else aside from Instagram? Any like direct Eventbrite shite?
Yes, we sent it to you. But,
okay,
I've got a show. We've both got shows in DC.
Okay, here's Spencer's Instagram here.
Social skills.
Spencer is funny, all one word, and there it is. Social skills is the show. Oh, how could I forget?
Oh yeah!
I gotta see this.
That's excellent.
Not the video for the.
No, it's not.
That's not. That's the one I sold out. That's the video where I sold out.
No, but this is the one I want to watch.
For those,
regardless.
Oh no, this isn't the one where I sold out. This is the one where I'm doing this. Yeah, this is the baby.
That's the one.
Okay, thank you, because that's all I need. I don't care if you sell shit out. I want you to know the error of your ways putting this on the internet, right? This whole discussion, watching people fail.
Dude, I stand by it. I stand by it.
And you do that, man. But holy cow.
He goes for it. Theater kid. That's that theater energy.
You want to talk about balls. We can't see them, but like they're there for sure.
After you show the thing, let me tell you what.
They're in the diaper.
The one regret I have about this.
I wish I could rewind. Let me see. Is it this? Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
So here we
go. Spencer here. As you know, we sold out the DC show, so we're doing a second one at 9 o'clock on that same day. And we still are selling tickets to the Utah show. Pre-order sale ends soon. But it's been crazy lately, and I've noticed that a lot of...
I just want to say, like, I watch, like, you know, when you're scrolling through Reels, like, it'll start automatically on mute. I'm seeing you, like, oh, he's plugging his show. Cool. And then I started it, like, halfway through, and then as soon as I turn the sound on, you're in a baby costume. But not to blow the lead, but, like, this is how jarring it was for me personally.
My show are also friends with my mom. So I figured I'd advertise to the rest of you in the same way that my mom's friends see me.
Look at Lorenzo!
That was me.
I love that you kept that part. You didn't have to keep that part.
That's awesome. With your dog hair all over the ring pop. Holy shit. He is a big dog. I imagine it's all over the carpet. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's insane.
No, I have hardwood floors, so I actually just sweep up every day. And
that's actually your litmus test. Lorenzo, how was that being your...
That was something, you know.
Are you going to buy tickets? It's sold out, so not that you could.
Well, the second show's not sold out.
You won't forget it, right? Yeah. And just like you did, how you recoiled, how you were taken aback, that's how I was. Because like I had unmuted it right when you're like, how my mom's friends see me. And then and then boom. I was like,
first off, a little upset that you did the Tony Hitchcliffe impression when you were doing my voice. How your friends see me. But no,
you know what you've always reminded me of, or who you've always reminded me of is oh my gosh, who is that Adam Ruins Everything. What's that guy's name? Adam Conover. Adam Conover. Look him up.
Listen, I
That's
look like
you.
a generic white dude.
No, you
I
don't
get
look.
Matt
You don't
Damon,
look. You don't look
JD
anything.
Vance.
You don't look anything like him. It's your demeanor and like and your voice, like all
okay.
those
All
components.
right,
is
well, he
Adam
sounds
Connor.
pretty hot, so I don't
That's
know.
what he would say. Yeah,
I'll
That's
look,
great,
I'll
yeah.
look it up.
I'm remembering his voice, and I was like, I can kind of see what you mean.
No,
Yeah.
you'll figure it out. I'm not going to pull him up, but so that's your Instagram. That's
Yep.
perfect.
November 23rd.
Okay.
Also, just for the record, that video sold 4 tickets.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, it's worth every single one.
Because like Lorenzo's sad, like it's burned into his memory. He can't forget it. Like they
Yeah.
thought that by buying tickets and like seeing you in person, they would shake the hex you put on,
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
like the curse.
They just
right?
gotta come see the show. That's the problem.
Uh-huh.
Until they fulfill. It's like a prophecy to break the curse. Exactly.
Get it away. Get rid of it. Save me.
But
And,
November 23rd in DC, there's we sold out the first show, so we're doing a second one that same day.
Awesome.
At 9.
We will have it all in the description, links and all. And then here is Angel's Instagram, Angel Be Funny.
Yep. I'm doing my special on December 14th. I have not sold it out.
What?
Please buy tickets.
Yes.
I need everyone
That's
to
not
get
good
tickets.
enough, yeah.
It's mainly my face begging you to buy tickets.
And there's my face. I wanted to say at some point before we ended, I wanted to thank Angel here profusely for heading up this fundraiser that he had at Eckington Hall, him and Paz Soto, the two of them. I mean, I'm in your debt, like truly. Like if there's anything you ever need me to do, if you need me to hop on something like this, even just as a promoter or as, like a, help run things, I'm there at the drop of a hat, because like truly, like I would have been, I told this to Charlotte on the last episode, I would have had to take a huge break if I didn't have the money to get my car fixed.
And just to
shit.
let everyone know, he didn't want the help. He was like, nah, I'll just deal with it.
Like,
and
seriously.
I was like, no. As a camera person, if that happened to me, I would want somebody to go the extra mile and try to help me out. And we raised a bunch of money, and I wish it was more because you're a really solid dude. So
Well,
thank
and
you,
like
man.
the comedy scene, I mean, you send photos to people who like wouldn't get photos otherwise. Like you help out the comedy scene just by being there, helping with producing something that like comics just don't want to do. Nobody wants to be a producer. We all do it because it's the only way to guarantee we get on stage somewhere. But you do it, and you do it well. And so when Angel was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this for Christian, I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Too bad I'm going to be out of town when
Yeah.
that happens.
No, it's all good. Like-
Promoting the show in Utah.
Like I said, I'm not the type of person to ask for help for anything, so I was ready to I was
neither
like, okay.
am I, and that's why I did it for you.
Aw, thank
Because
you,
I
man.
saw that in you, and I was like,
Yeah.
he will never ask for help.
I was
So if
just like, yeah.
force it on.
I was like, this is a time for me to take a break, I guess, or or just like work, overtime at my job, because I do work full time outside of this, and I was like, I can do this, but I'd have to, obviously take a hiatus. But like you enabled me not to, so like thank you for continuing to enable this addiction that is stand-up comedy.
and as somebody else who
keep
also
it uninterrupted.
as somebody who also doesn't ask for help, that's stupid. If you need help, ask
Right.
for freaking help.
I'll go back to your Instagram, but this is actually color corrected footage of me on the scene when I got my car broken.
Really?
I forgot that I had recorded
Bro,
when I found.
Fuck would you guys do this shit to me? Bro, you can't have shit nice and easy. I swear to God, man, you can't have shit nice and easy.
Oh, they took your
Ooh, I want you to.
bro.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
your voice. I don't think I've ever heard you sound that black.
I was
before.
devastated.
I'm really proud of you.
And looked too. I looked the
Yeah,
part in the reflection there for a second, but
It's crazy because
Yeah.
that's the first time I ever believed you were a gay black guy.
that's crazy. That thing you did at the end of your show, the Heather's game, because I've seen your material before, right? I saw these guys recently at a show in Fredericksburg. That's how I figured they would want to come to Stafford to do, or you were in Stafford. That's how I figured you'd want to come back here to do something like this, because you made it out to Heather's show. But she played a game at the end where it was like, what was it called? It was
Sex with me is
Sex with me is like, and then you pose the question to the audience, and the audience gives you 3 suggestions of what Sex with You is like, and each comedian will step up to the mic and find a version of one of the three things that they can make a joke about, right?
Yeah.
And so those jokes that you made and Patrick's too, with
Patrick made the one that we all thought of, but nobody was willing.
no
to
one
say.
was brave enough to. That was oh my gosh, I love seeing like you guys do shit like that and just be like on the spot, fucking hilarious.
Thanks,
and
man.
she's a genius for that. I love Heather so
that was
much.
fun.
Yeah,
That was
she's
phenomenal.
Every time I think I'm gonna be really bad at this, and then I was like, oh, I can't get in trouble because I'm not supposed to say this stuff.
right.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
whole point.
No, anyway, enough of these tangents. I wanted to show someone that clip because that was me in my soul too, to how I felt when I got to my car. It was more just like defeat or just like, are you serious?
Yeah, I've had.
I
those
was like, are you
moments.
fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And I actually sent that to John Burton because he had his airbags stolen out of his car at his house. He had his his car broken into, and they stole his airbags of all
Does he live in
things.
DC?
I think like Arlington or Alexandria,
Oh,
so
wow,
Virginia
spreading
too.
to Arlington.
Yeah, no.
So far, everyone who's been hit, it's been in DC.
DC, yeah, Winston.
Yeah. If keep your shit in your
Apparently,
trunk.
Yusuf Goal had his airbag stolen at some point. I don't know where.
Easy. Are airbags valuable? I don't know.
I don't know, and I don't know when that was, but
Dang.
yeah. Anyways, on a lighter note, here's Angel's Instagram. Again, Angel Be Funny, one word. On
Yes, Angel Be
Instagram.
Funny. On December 14th, I'll be doing this show. It's going to be, like I said, the material that I love. So I will need people who are supportive. Just buy tickets now because then I could add a second show. But I haven't hit that number yet, and I need to hit that number. So if you know somebody who loves comedy, and if you've listened to this, you know I'm a good person. So I don't mean the things that I say.
Absolutely.
Unless you think it's hilarious, then I meant it. You know? That's how
Every
it works.
word of it.
Every word of it.
Every
right?
word.
But if you're offended, you're like, I was just joking. Right? It's what Tony Hinchcliffe does. Right?
Yeah, that's such a cop out too. Like on the next time you come through, like we'll go through all that, and we'll probably watch a full set of his just so we can. I want to compare like what I think of a good set of his to that, just so like we can look at them, side by side and be like,
No, don't get me. It wasn't his best work.
I didn't think it was like anything to write home about, and so
Yeah, but I guess I appreciate the tightrope
Mhm.
of that moment.
right.
Where I'm
The Super
like-
Bowl,
Because if somebody said,
yeah.
hey, perform in front of a presidential, like, what?
Mhm.
No one's ever done that in the history of comedy.
Sure.
So, like,
Yeah.
even if somebody presented it, I'd be like, I don't think I should do this.
Mhm.
This seems insane.
All right. Well, we've reached the end of the program here, but before we wrap completely, I just want to once again thank you guys for coming here. Thank you for making the drive all the way down
Thank
to
you.
the
Thank you
Stafford
very much.
in-person studio bedroom, the whole nine. I mean, this I couldn't have pictured this
This bedroom is dope
going
as
any.
shit.
Oh, thank you,
I wanna move
man.
in.
Thank you. That's what every kid wants to hear. Like, you have the new
Did you see
Xbox.
this?
Yeah.
Man, but thank you. And with each episode at the end, Lorenzo, it goes to, I don't know why I'm stuttering, but it's your job, motherfucker, to give us some advice on anything that we may or may not have talked about throughout the episode. So without further ado, here comes your song. Let it rip, please.
Thank you very much. Here's my advice for the people. Number one, check out our shows coming up. You heard it, Angel said it already, December the 14th, and then you see the fucking poster. So it's like, you know what's going on. Pop up. When you in DC, hide your shit or just make it like really fucking messy. Just
We're
like
going back
throw
to
them in
front
the
now.
counter,
I like
get
this.
a bunch of bags and just throw them all over the car, make it look like you live in that bitch, and like they're not gonna take.
He said that's his strategy. I make my car as messy as possible.
Spencer does the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Or why not just put your shit away? Like I'm retarded for leaving it
They're
out.
gonna take it.
But
you know
like,
what
I'm not gonna make it like a
I was about
hoarder's
to say,
buried alive
Christian,
situation.
Which one of us got robbed?
No, but I don't need to make it a hoarder's situation in my car to make as a
It's not
yeah.
borders. It's
Yeah,
like
it is, though.
a Class
What you have,
C-
it's
a
bad.
Class C hoarder.
He had
Bruh,
like
it's not
flour, like baking
Well,
ingredients in
in
his
his
car.
defense, I also like staying single, so I get it.
Any advice for Tony on what not to say at a Trump rally, maybe, or something like that. I don't know.
I feel like he knows.
Yeah,
I
he
hope
figured
at
it
least
out.
Now he knows.
Yeah.
You know, like holy, if you don't know by now, you're just not gonna get it. You know,
Sure.
there's no saving you. That's it. I've lost. I've abandoned you,
Mhm.
and you know, I've feed you too long. You're done. That's it. I can't.
Who
I
else?
can't give you all the
Yeah.
answers.
No, that's brilliant. Who else or what else do we even talk about? This has gone by so quickly. I can't even.
We talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
Very
I'm gonna have
fantastic.
to, I know there's a lot of clips.
Stage time matters than anything else.
Yes, yeah, words to live by. But a ton of clips that will be, we'll just be mining this episode for gold. I feel like,
Hit the
clippable
stage,
moments. Hit the
Please
stage.
Delete any cuss words I say,
Any cuss words?
any of the slurs.
You didn't.
I'm technically.
I'm gonna be real. You didn't.
I did.
no,
Oh,
no.
good.
You-
I was trying really
I mean,
hard.
do you think crap is a cuss word? If it is, you are a
crap is
bitch.
not a cuss
Okay,
word.
good.
Crap is a replacement word.
Okay.
Because
you said crap a lot.
Yeah.
You did say
I
crap.
was like, he knows he could cuss on this shit, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, I was cussing. I pick up everything he
Yeah.
like.
What we'll do is we'll
Listen, you can catch me saying retard, but you cannot catch me
Yeah.
saying a cuss.
Well, we'll take that. We'll take that but then we'll also take all the cuss words Angel said, and we'll make them come out of your mouth.
Yes, AI can do fantastic things.
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.